Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy Jack here at the Irish Hotspur, here to deliver you that fan show. Sorry, it's a little dark in here, I guess. Just wanted to close the curtains because the sun is deep in my eyes. The sun is deep in my eyes. Looking forward to Liverpool. This is especially because Kulusevski is back, everybody. I was kind of getting ready for probably some pretty kind of dark conversations here, especially with the dark lighting around me, because I didn't think Kulusevski was going to be back for this one, but apparently he is, and it looks like he could be ready and available for Spurs' choosing come the Liverpool game. Some people think he should be brought off the bench. Some people think he should start right away. Give me your thoughts. Hit that link and come on to the fan show and have a nice sort of Friday chill combo with me, everybody. I really do enjoy these. Last time out, so many people came on to have a say. So really want to, chat to each and every one of you that especially have that link, that especially have that fan show membership. But let's get into the chat, see what people have to say today. I'm going to bring up some of the combo points, some of the discussion points that are available to people to, to choose from today. And then we'll go and get going, everybody. But do smash that like button and keep getting your comments in below. Really do appreciate all that have joined me so far. Ryan Trestane is in the house. We'll be speaking to him later. Big up Tio, always in here. Dark Sun G, right and early with a nice super chat as well. Really appreciate it, my man, saying perfect game for Kulusevski to return as Son is out. Both us and Liverpool are missing key players in similar positions. Us with Tottenham, we have Sonny, Richie, and Romero out. Liverpool have Matip, Jota, and Diaz. Let's finally beat them for confidence and for Son's sake. Absolutely right, Dark Sun G. We're probably missing our secret weapon in the case of Sonny versus Liverpool because he's probably one of the best players, I think, in world football at taking advantage of that high line, at taking advantage of teams that do like to sort of press others, and maybe sort of expose that back line to maybe, a runner in behind. And I think Sonny is basically practically the best in the world, sort of at timing those runs, at not being offside, at being able to, choose the right moments when to, make those runs, in between the lines. And Harry Kane is world class at finding him. And that sort of relationship we sort of have relied on in order to beat teams like Liverpool, in order to kind of take advantage of that space that they give us in behind the defense. And he's going to be a huge miss for us. Dark Sun G is going to be an absolutely huge miss. Even Richie would also have helped us out a lot. Definitely amazing to have Kulusevski back, but that pace, we certainly, and also even just that intelligence from Sonny is definitely what we need in this game. For the likes of Liverpool, Matip, I think, is probably the guy that secretly has been Virgil van Dijk's best partner and maybe has brought some of the best out of Van Dijk, I think, in the past. I think he's a brilliant ball carrier, Matip. He's one of those guys that is, I think, really good under pressure, just really good just with the ball at his feet, an exceptional center back, I think, just really composed and is a good defender. And I think Van Dijk, as well as just any center back next to him. Also with Conte. Is Conte still out? I'm not sure about that either, but they just have looked shaky, Dark Sun G. Jota, I've always rated, and I think he is just a good striker for them and probably is a bit underappreciated. And then Diaz, of course, has been, sensational for them. And he also kind of saved them in that game over at Anfield. We absolutely should have gotten there with 3 points, but he saved them, Dark Sun G. So huge miss for them. Absolutely right. And let's do this for Sonny, my man. Dark Sun G as well saying Pierre Højbjerg plus Bentancur hopefully score or assist on Sunday. I mean, we've been depending on them, Dark Sun G, and I guess with Sonny being out, with Richie still being out, it's going to continue to be Bentancur and Højbjerg FC from here on out, my man. Big up, Dark Sun G. Really appreciate your support, brother. George Hill's in the house. Big up, lads. Kulusevski is back. This is the perfect game for Spurs to get some momentum back in the Premier League. Big win in the Champions League, plus a win over the Scousers. Should stop the Conte out nonsense. Absolutely right, Georgie. Love how you put that there, my man. R. Green is in the house. Good to see you, my man. Afternoon, chaps. Stevie Frazier. Big ups, everyone. Any news on Ben Teckers? Haven't seen the press conference yet. Did something happen with Ben Teckers? Did he look a little injured? Did he maybe he's just really tired after the game? And I'm not sure, Stevie, but I thought he's okay. But perhaps I missed something, or perhaps I'm not on the ball as much as you are, Stevie. Big up, my man. Good to see you, Bobby K. You absolute legend, as well as P-Dubs. P-Dubs, feel free to join us, my man, if you're available. Come on, P-Dubs. Phil's in the house as well. Big up the Spurs family. Big up Phil as well. Really want to see you come on if you can, my man. Really appreciate you tuning in. Foggy Foam is in the house. Good afternoon, everyone. Massive boost with Kulu. Absolutely is. 164 Spurs. Big up, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Dan Coy's afternoon all at work, still listening in. This is our best chance to beat Liverpool. But I remember saying the same thing before the Chelsea game, and they ended up dominating us most of the game. it's probably there true. We did kind of psych ourselves up for that game against Chelsea, and we really did get dominated, perhaps, throughout the game. You're right, Dan. But when I do look at this Liverpool team, the fact that they are losing to the likes of Forest, they're losing to relegation sides right now, it just seems like they are just basically gettable. Like any team can kind of come at them. I'm not even sure how Forest even kind of went about it, because I think Forest didn't really go about it the same way as Leeds did. Were they really up in their face? Were they really pressing them all game, showing that sort of relentless energy? Or were they a bit more compact and a bit more defensive and a bit more methodical about it? I'm not sure, Dan. I really watched that Leeds game more than I watched the Forest game. In the Forest game, I really just watched Virgil van Dijk just, miss a bunch of sitters and almost act like a defender in front of the opposition goal, which was quite hilarious. But Dan, I feel like it could go differently, but it is a rational fear, my man. It is a very rational fear. Big up, Dan. Really appreciate you tuning in as well, my man. Big up, Christian Van Wyck. Big up, Jack. Very, very happy with the good news, getting me through university work. Keep it up. You absolute legend, Christian. Keep it up, my man. Eddie Parsons. Good evening, Jack from Dubai. Lovely, Eddie. Lovely. Good to see you, Paul G. Hope everyone is well. Eddie Parsons also saying Kulu needs to start against Liverpool. That's how I sort of feel about it. I think we're just so threadbare at the moment. We've been missing him so much, Eddie, that I think he just needs to start. I can't be patient, but we're going to be bringing on KPV later, who's Kulusevski's biggest fan, Eddie, and he's going to be saying why you need to be patient. So let's listen to him. Big up Sebas is in the chat as well. Good to see you, Sebas. You absolute legend. Big up Mia. Hopefully you're keeping well. Mia, feel free to explain. Pick up Beyond 72. DJ Samuel, come on, you Spurs. Big up DJ. Mark New, big up Jack. Kulu is back. He will come off the bench. He can't be 100% fit yet. Love to see Hill Messi and the Jedi attack both wings. 2-1 Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big yourself up, Mark New. And hopefully you can come on and have your say, my man. Really enjoyed our chat last time. Love to see Kulusevski back, but I think you're on KPV's page where you kind of want to see him brought off the bench and not really rushed into things too quickly. I like where your head is at, Mark New. Good to see you, Tom THFC. Hi, Jack. Happy Friday. Come on, you Spurs. Very happy Friday indeed. The one and only Rob Belcher's in the house. Big up, Jack. The latest really is it's just Kulusevski. We're just happy to have him back. Big up, Taku. These injuries are a blessing in disguise. It puts more pressure to buy players in January. I like where your head is at there, Taku. Big up Stevie Frazier. Was holding when it comes to Bentancur, was holding his hammy, wasn't he, when he came off? But if alles gut, then happy days. I think alles gut there, Stevie Frazier. No need to worry. I feel like with Bentancur, he just puts so much into the game that he just practically collapses when he comes off the pitch, Stevie. And it really is dramatic the way that he does it. But I think it's just because he puts that much into it really out there. That's what I would say. But definitely something to take notice of. Really appreciate that you noticed that and brought it up. Big up, Stevie. Big up, Paul Gregory. Hey, Flat Cat, big news. Where did you hear it? But I've been seeing it on the Twitter sphere, Paul. Apart from everybody being fired from Twitter, I've been seeing some good Spurs news with Kulusevski coming back. So that's where I saw it, Paul. It's all on Twitter. I think it came from Fabrizio Romano is the original source from what I saw, Paul. Big yourself up, my man. Good to see you in the chat as well. Kev Williams is in the chat. You absolute legend. Big up, Jack. Hope you're keeping well. Let's get the positive vibes flowing for Sunday's game. Good to see you in here, Kev. Absolutely right. Good to see you, Jimothy. Good morning. Wish I could join, but working, unfortunately. Glad I can still watch, though. Really good to see you, Jimothy. And no worries, my man. Really appreciate you tuning in and still leaving a comment. Big up, my man. Joseph is in the house. Good to see you, Joseph. Afternoon, Jack and Spurs gang. Let's hope Dr. Tottenham don't turn up on Sunday. We can definitely beat them if we bring our second half performances to the whole game. Come on, you Spurs. Joseph, you're absolutely right. It is sort of sadly a bit of a Dr. Tottenham situation when it comes to Liverpool. I mean, they need a win and they need a big win badly. And they've done it before this season where they've been playing pretty atrocious throughout. But when they've needed a big win, they've been able to get it. I think with the likes of, what was it? The Man City win, certainly. And I think there might have been another one where they might have played pretty decently in kind of a big game, but I could be mistaken. Maybe it was just the Man City game. But right, certainly a Dr. Tottenham situation. Let's hope that doesn't come to fruition. And when it comes to the second half performances being kind of how we win the games, can we really do that against Liverpool? I guess that's something that maybe hopefully the fans bring up in this fan show today, Joseph. And it's good to see you in here. Gabrielle Need Kim Min Jae. I was asking for him, Gabrielle, just like you. Big up Daniel Sandoval. One love. Big up to all. Absolute legend. Mia, feel free to message me. Feel free to message me, Mia. Um, Big up Wembley. Good afternoon and morning, Jack. Just wish we had some youngsters who were genuinely pushing for a place in the squad, especially up front. Apparently, we don't. Worrying sign of poor junior recruitment. I feel like maybe potentially it's just the youth squad at the moment isn't exactly ready to be challenging in the first team, and also Conte isn't exactly a guy that is just going to be bringing up sort of academy players all the time. But I'm not sure when really exactly how to answer that. When it comes to maybe players like Dylan Marcondi in the past and things like that, I feel like they've just kind of sought talent or sought their talent to go elsewhere. They kind of were more motivated to play football regularly, even if it meant playing at a lower level, kind of like the case of Dylan Marcondi. Madueke is another good example, going over to the Netherlands. I guess too, Marcus Edwards sort of going to Sporting, but I think that's a bit of a different scenario. But sometimes some of our most talented players that absolutely would probably be challenging for the first team now have sort of maybe seen the players that were ahead of them in these Spurs squads and thought, well, if I'm not given a chance ahead of that sort of, like, let's be honest, in some cases kind of bozo, then I'm just going to have to go elsewhere and just kind of develop my talents elsewhere, even if that means playing for a lower level side. And I think a part of it's on the fault of Spurs, absolutely, Wembley, but also part of it maybe is credit to the motivation of those players just to get playing, just to get games no matter what. Because even if they were maybe given chances with Spurs, it's not like they would still be playing maybe as regularly as they would like. So that's like an attempt at an answer there, but it's a great comment there. Wembley, big yourself up. Big up Muhammad Coffee in the house. Good to see him, my man. Wayne Bonner as well. Good afternoon, Jack. Hope you're well. I'm excited, expecting to see Hill Messi get some game time. Absolutely, Wayno. Will he get some game time this weekend against the likes of Liverpool? I'm not too sure, Wayne, but there's always time to hope. And the Hill Messi prophecy I will be talking about in just a moment, Wayne, so get ready. Big up Lisa, absolute legend. John N is in the house too. Good to see you, John. Noah Gender, and as well Leah Statham. Big up Lee, or Lee, sorry. Good to see you in here. But everybody, while you're in, please smash that like button. Keep getting your comments in down below. Feel free as well to throw in a super chat to support the channel, as well as to get your comments read right away. It's a great way to skip the queue. And like I said, great way to support the channel. But here are kind of some things. Let me take a quick sip of coffee. But here are some things to maybe think about for this fan show if you are wanting to come on. There has been some sort of kind of January sort of updates here. And Hill Messi, unfortunately, the prophecy, we are going to have to wait slightly a bit longer. He could be pushed out on loan. It seems like despite all the really nice things that Conte has had to say about the likes of Hill Messi, he is going to be given the option, at least, or given the choice to be moved out on loan this January. And I think that could then mean actually someone like a Malinovsky could be coming into the club. That was, I guess, the sort of right winger that sort of Spurs were looking at in case they were able to move on Brian Hill, but I guess they sort of weren't able to / decided against it. I'm not really sure. I think that was definitely on their fault, especially if he wasn't going to trust Brian Hill to be able to fill in for Kulusevski in that sort of right wing position. But Malinovsky, there's definitely starting to get some I would say some heat behind that, or definitely getting some legs, it looks like, because Spurs representatives, I guess, from what I heard, are starting to maybe make moves again towards the player. We had the opportunity to get him in the summer, but looks like we either weren't, I guess, quick enough, weren't persistent enough, weren't really demanding enough to really get him, which is, I think, mostly in the case of Spurs. And also the fact that we didn't successfully move on the likes of Brian Hill, I think meant that Malinowski has to stay. From what we've heard from even Spurs fans, I think it was I forget which one, but Spurs fan out in Glasgow, please remind me, whoever it was who had the inside take, tier one source, apparently said that Malinowski is dying to play for Spurs. And it was brilliant to hear that from one of the Harris Army as well, that Malinowski is dying to play for Spurs. That is something to think about. Malinowski and Brian Hill, bit of a connection there, everybody. Over for Davinson Sanchez, something that Dave and I sort of spoke about on the podcast, but it is actually, I think, still relevant because they are looking at sort of replacements as well as big quality upgrades, I think, in January. And I think that does mean they are going to have to either move out some players, either an Eric Dyer, a Tanganga, or a Davinson Sanchez. And the reason why I think it might be over for Davinson Sanchez and he could be moved out in January, or at least when that window comes up, is mostly because he wasn't trusted in that Marseille game. He is the basic backup for Romero. When Romero is hurt, he should be the one that should be brought into the team. If that's sort of his role, to be Romero's sort of backup in those scenarios, then you think he would have taken that spot in that Marseille game. But the fact that Conte or just the entire staff just didn't trust Sanchez at all in that game, or even to bring him off the bench at any stage, I think just shows a lot about maybe sort of Conte's trust levels now with Sanchez. Another thing as well is that I think Sanchez is one of the few players in sort of Conte's tenure to not improve in the time that he's been here. So I think it's probably over for Davinson Sanchez and potentially a player that we can move on in January. But can we actually move him on in January? Will we be able to move him on in January? Definitely something to think about as well. Another bit of news here is that Spurs are focused. Spurs were focused on quantity in the summer, and now Spurs can focus on quality from now on. I kind of wrote that very poorly, so I do apologize, everybody. But basically, there was a bit of a quote, I think, that came out from Ali Gold that said that over the summer, part of the focus in terms of the transfer kind of goals, or the transfer kind of principles or agenda, whatever you might call it, for lack of a better words, looks like they were focused more on bringing in quantity. And I think Conte put it in the term of the numerical aspect, to bring in players into the squad to kind of beef out the squad, you could say, because it was sort of the case, I think, last season that we were really thin in a lot of positions, just thin in general when it came to just backups, but also just in terms of any sort of quality whatsoever. And I think while the players we brought in, of course, I think were absolutely of decent quality, I think they were also focusing on just trying to beef out the squad in as many positions as they could. Did they really successfully do that in every way? I don't think they did. But it sort of is maybe an explanation for how they maybe went about it in sort of the summer, whether you'll take it or not. Spurs, but now can focus on quality from here on out. So that basically means, maybe sort of better, bigger players are going to be attracted to Spurs and are sort of going to improve the likes of a Sanchez, the likes of a Dyer in the team. And we can now, and maybe, and as well as an Emerson, etc. And we can start to bring in higher profile players, or at least just better quality players into this team to help Conte out a lot more with what he's trying to achieve in his systems. That's something to think about if that sort of news you were aware of with what Ali Gold was talking about in the on his YouTube channel. Romero's injury plus Sonny's injury, just kind of a few more things here. Romero's injury, just simply that he's not going to be available for the rest of the season, or sorry, what am I saying? Sorry, everybody, it's a bit early. For the rest until the World Cup. I guess he's going to be out for around 10 days. World Cup is in 11 days. Some people kind of thought of that as kind of like, okay, convenient timing, perhaps him just holding himself out for the World Cup. I feel like you could probably put that sort of label on certain maybe Argentinian players, but this is where I sort of kind of think about it. I feel like with the Argentina FA, they put more pressure on their players to take priority of the national team than I think other FAs of other respective countries do. At least that's how I sort of see it. And I think that's something you have to sort of feel for Romero, is that if you do have an FA, your FA, that is really asking you to prioritize your sort of country's games and things like that over your club, even if you don't want to, that's still a lot of pressure. In some cases, actually, they might give a player who does say yes to that preference over a player who doesn't. And I think there is some sort of kind of a, what would you say, kind of a stress that comes with that being part of an Argentinian national team, is that they really do put a lot of emphasis on that team, and they put a lot of pride into that team, and they really basically ask you, I think in certain cases, to maybe put more effort or take more priority when these big tournaments come up in that national team. And I don't think Romero is doing that, but let's be honest, I think that is probably a very sort of delicate thing to deal with as sort of a football player. I think we have to sort of sympathize, is really the point that I'm trying to make here. If I'm not making it very well, that's what really it is. It's just, I think we have to offer sympathy more for Romero, because that is a lot of pressure on a player. Also, as well, this is the World Cup, where it's basically Messi's last opportunity, I think, to win a World Cup as well. So I think more than ever, this Argentina FA is putting pressure on these players. I think they even deliberately ask players to not play in their remaining games of the of the or like the remaining games of the league or something like that. They had some call that came out publicly to their players that basically was asking that they ask their own respective teams to not play in the remaining games. So it really is that severe and it really is that extreme. And I think that is some sort of sympathize more with Romero having to deal with that. I think that's very awkward, sort of to have to deal with as a player. So something just to think about and something to sympathize, I think, with him. I don't really want to throw accusations that his heart is elsewhere, he's been holding himself back or anything. The man is an absolute warrior out there on the pitch. He's put in some brilliant performances for us. He's shown the real heart and passion of more of the old school type defenders that a lot of people, let's be honest, really wish were still in the game. And I think we've all given Romero's those sort of plaudits, and he's shown us a lot of passion. He's probably put blood, sweat, and tears already multiple times in games for us in this in the short time that he's been here. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, and I think we should give him the benefit of the doubt. But if you want, I mean, feel free to disagree with me on it because it is kind of the case that certain Argentina players do actually put preference over that team than their respective clubs. There definitely is something to be said there. Sonny's injury, basically something quick. It looks like he is undergoing surgery. I think we're going to get news on his sort of outcome of the surgery. If it was sort of a clean break, I believe, in whatever part of his face that he broke under his left eye, then that's actually good news because then he can just wear a protective mask and the surgery can be a bit more simple and then he can play. If it's not a clean break and it's a bit more complicated, I think his sort of return to action is definitely much more in question for the World Cup and whatnot. I think he's just out for the rest of these games, absolutely. But I think the real question is he going to be out for the World Cup? And this is probably one of Sonny's best opportunities, I would say, with this Korean national team to really go far. And I think it would be a huge, huge loss and really heartbreaking for us as Spurs fans and as lovers of Sonny to see that happen to him. So something to think about there as well. And then last one, everybody, Kulusevski is back. How should we line up against Liverpool? Just something to think about there to everybody. But I'm going to get to a few super chats here, get to a few comments, and we'll get some people on to the show. Enough blabbering from me. Big up, Sebas. Good to see you. Saying, as we have been so bad in the first half, I think we should keep Kulu on the bench and then bring him on in the second half. That is when we play better. I know KPV feels the same way here, Sebas. I just feel like I'm so impatient right now with just sort of the quality that we have in sort of our starting front players because Sonny and Kane, I feel like have been dying to have Kulusevski. Now that Kulusevski is returning, Sebas, of course, in kind of our horrible luck right now, Sonny then gets hurt the time that we get Kulusevski back. We still don't have Richie. I just feel like we just need some quality up front. I definitely understand the arguments that we shouldn't really rush him back, and he can be a brilliant sort of impact sub. And like you already said there, like it's not even like Spurs play very well in the first half anyway. So what's the point of even risking him that much over a whole 90 minutes when we only show up in the second half anyways? So there is something about that, but I'm just sort of impatient right now, Sebas. I just want some quality up front. Just want to see Kulusevski back playing alongside Kane. And it's really sad that there is no Richie or Sonny to help him out because that's what we've been asking for is just Kulusevski to be back alongside the likes of a Richie, Sonny, Kane, etc. And now that those two are hurt, and now it's just going to be basically what Kane and Lucas, I guess, and perhaps Brian Hill Messi. If we don't play Kulusevski, it is a bit kind of dim up top. So I would kind of be a bit impatient and perhaps risk him. But I guess that's obviously why, I'm not used for game management there, Sebas. Great comment, my man. Really appreciate your support as well, brother. Wayne Bonner in the house. I'd not send Hill Messi on loan. Can we afford to? Do we have any concrete replacements for him while he's on loan? Sell Bobo Sanchez for a real center back. Definitely do that before you get rid of Hill Messi, Wayne. Absolutely agree. Let's get our priorities straight here. But when it comes to Hill Messi on loan, I think the case is that he just wants to play regularly, Wayne. And I think he is a player that is so talented, as you and I both know, that he needs to play regularly. So is he going to get that at Spurs with Antonio Conte? Likely not. And I think he just needs a loan spell somewhere where he can sort of demand a bit of attention, demand a bit of respect, put up some good numbers because we all see him put in great flashes, great sets of ability, but he should probably just go somewhere we can actually put up some numbers and actually point to and just say, Conte, please play me. Look what I can do here. So ultimately for the prophecy of Hill Messi, just for the sake of the prophecy, Wayne, I think it is actually not a bad goal for him, or not a bad path for him to go out on loan. I actually know a few clubs I think would actually really do well with him. But I see where you're going. Like, what sort of replacement are we bringing in? Is that even good enough? Is that even that much better than Hill Messi? It's all valid questions. I think Malinowski is a player that Conte might actually perhaps prefer, just because he has a bit more experience and is coming from the Serie A. Is also just a bit of a, let's be honest, a bit of a bulkier sort of player. He has a brilliant left foot. Malinowski can really fire it like an absolute rocket. But Wayne, I see where you're at. I think get the priority straight, sell Sanchez first, but with Hill Messi, it just feels like maybe what he needs is just game time, and I'm pretty sure he himself just wants game time. That's all it really is. Pick yourself up, my man. Really appreciate your support, and it's good to see that you're part of the Hill Messi prophecy gang, protectors of the Hill Messi prophecy. Big up, Wayne. Well, everybody, we're going to bring our first guest of the evening, or first guest of the afternoon. Apologies, a little lopsided here, but we're going to bring on our first guest of the afternoon. Smash that like button while you're in here. Keep getting your comments in. Feel free as well to throw in a super chat. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to skip the queue, as well as ask the guests that I have on any sort of questions that are on your mind. But let's bring him on here. We're going to start first and foremost, just because he was in here nice and early, and then some people have popped on since then. Ryan, good to see you, Ryan.
You all right, Jack, man?
What'd you think of all the kind of topics I was bringing up there, Ryan? Anything that interested you there?
Well, it's a bit ironic, isn't it? First of all, Jack, to be honest, don't you think that I only said the other day that we'd be getting in a few world-class defenders, and all of a sudden this all comes out.
The source, maybe the source is coming true. So you kind of
well,
think
I've got another thing. Everyone, this is a definite as well, because I've heard this from a very close source to the club who I know, but not very well, but they work with the club though. That we've actually got 150 million to spend in January.
That would be ridiculous to spend that much. But do you feel like we are going to bring in quality in January? And if we are going to bring in quality in January, Ryan, what position do you want us to like spend the big bucks on?
It's the same as what Dave would have been saying if he was here today. It's got to be the centre backs. We get two decent centre backs in 50 million each.
Absolutely.
I'm happy with that. Get two centre backs in for 50 million to play with Romero when he comes back. Yeah, we need to spend literally on that back line now. I'm not too
centre backs. Is that for you, Ryan? What would you say? At least two, or do you think we can get away with one?
No, two. We need two. Definitely.
Does that mean moving out Sanchez, like Wayne Bonner says? Move out Sanchez?
Moon Boots and Sanchez.
Moon Boots and Sanchez. You don't think Moon Boots is going to stick around, or how would you see it happening? Like, explain this to me, Ryan. What do you want versus what do you think will happen? Like, I think we all want to see Moon Boots go, but
that's what I want. But to face reality, it probably won't be. Sanchez and Moon Boots, unfortunately. I'd love to see it happen, but realistically, I think it will only be Sanchez that moves, to be honest, and not Moon Boots. Unfortunately, I mean, well, I don't even know if he's even made the England World Cup. But if he has, I'm going to be hiding behind the sofa with the cats for the next 4 weeks.
I think you will be seeing him, Ryan. I think you'll be seeing plenty of Moon Boots this World Cup, I imagine, because I think he was picked for the last one, so he must be. I don't think he just picks those players, willy nilly.
I don't know. If anyone can check, actually, let me know if he's actually made it. It'd be much appreciated. But if he has, yeah, I'm going to be hiding behind my sofa for God knows how long.
Peter Simon saying Dyer's good for a squad place. Do you feel like Dyer could take Sanchez's kind of spot, like that auxiliary backup sort of role, Ryan? I feel like he could do it. He could take Sanchez's kind of spot in the squad, right?
Yeah, but it's just them silly little mistakes he makes all the time. It's like, look, don't get me wrong. Everyone makes a mistake every now and again, right? Romero, he makes a mistake every now and again, but he doesn't make one every single game, does he? That's what's worrying me, that if we kept Moon Boots around with Sanchez, it just means that we're not improving, but we're not going backwards either. We're staying, and we're staying where we are, and it's not fair on the club or the fans if we don't get rid of Sanchez and Moon Boots at some point. To be honest, I'd rather get rid of them both this window, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more possible to move on the likes of a Sanchez. Moving on Moon Boots, I think, is going to be difficult for us, mostly because I think he has taken up like some sort of like, I think if he had, there's some sort of like rule where I think now maybe he is part of like the homegrown when it comes to like UEFA or something like that, or for England, I forget which one. He might be part of the homegrown. I could be chatting complete nonsense, but if that might be part of the reason why he's a bit harder to get rid of. He's also approaching a testimonial, Ryan. Like, do you get rid of him right before the testimonial? Spurs, they're a sentimental club. I think just like me, sentimental guy, they're a sentimental club.
Yeah, to be honest, right, this is the thing, right, this sentimentality from our fans, I've heard it.
I'm guilty of it, Ryan. I mean, I'm holding my hands up. I'm very guilty of it.
Yeah, I think it's not just you, Jack. I know, like, if it was anybody else, you wouldn't be as sentimental with them. If it was, but I just personally think, to be honest, Dyer does not deserve to have a testimonial. The performances he puts in, I'm actually saying he doesn't deserve it.
Him and Davies will be getting one, I think, next year.
Neither of them deserve it.
Neither of them deserve it?
No.
I think some people might agree with you. I'm pretending like, some people might not agree with you. I think some people probably do agree with you. They're kind of underwhelming testimonials. A bit underwhelming, right?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's people. Some people will 100% agree with me, and there'll be others that don't. And I respect both sides of the argument. But
yeah, of course.
Really, I just don't think either of them deserve it, in my opinion. And that's just a personal opinion. Like, I mean, the thing that's worrying me is, is that it's with that Romero situation as well. That's another thing that's worrying me, because the Argentina FA decide they're going to want to say, well, he's got to take priority of country over club. First of all, no one should be put in that position. Nobody should be put in that position. I don't care whether it was, and this is how far I don't like any of the back line apart from Romero, really, and Lenglet, right? But I mean, let's just say England decided to do that with Dyer. I think everyone knows my opinion on Dyer now, right? Even though I don't like him, I would still see that as a disgrace that he has to put club over country. Because I don't think...
You think Romero is putting club over the country? Because I tried to say, Ryan, that I think he's shown to us that he loves, putting in effort for this club. He loves putting his all into this team.
Oh, yeah.
He's even been... I actually forgot to mention this. He's even been held back by Conte before, when he himself wanted to play and wanted to push through an injury, push through that pain barrier. Conte has held him back. So I feel like he's shown evidence of wanting to play for this club and, believing in the badge and, do you think it's Argentina just pulling him back? Maybe Argentina putting some pressure on him? How do you see it? How do you see it?
Yeah, I see it as that's what I was trying to say is it's country over club, Jack, for the Argentina players. And
do you think is it the Argentina FA though that make them think that way? I don't think it's always the players themselves that think that way. It's almost like the FA make them think that way, right?
Yeah, it's the FA that make them think that. And do you know what? It really annoys me. It's a bit like putting someone in hostage, in a hostage. You know what I mean? And that's not fair on any of the players that deserve that. None of them. I bet even Messi's probably thinking. Messi is the only one that probably doesn't get that because he's a whole different player. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, because he's Messi.
I bet he's the only one that can get away with playing for club and country and not get slaughtered for it. But anyone else, it's not fair on them. Do you know what I mean? And
is there more pressure this time too? Because it feels like this is Messi's last hurrah, right, at a World Cup. So it feels like the Argentina FA is even nastier and even more pressure putting on the players than ever because it's Messi's last time, right? I think at a World Cup as well.
Yeah, and I don't. But we all know that. I mean, not even trying to be funny, but the Argentina squad aren't that good, even at the best of times.
You don't think they're like dark horses coming into this one or anything? No?
Nah. I mean, they'll get out of the group stages, yeah, right? The same as the USA, they'll get out as well, right? But then it'll be if the Americans or us play Argentina, we both do them.
I don't think the Yanks will. I don't think the Yanks will, but I think we'll get smacked around by them. But maybe I'll give you guys a shot. Just on Liverpool, though, Ryan, and last two questions for you here, my man. Kulusevski being back, is that exactly what Spurs need? When do you play him? Do you bring him on off the bench? What do you do? Do you start him? How do you handle this Kulusevski news? Brilliant news.
I know KVP is going to absolutely hate me for this. And I know, because I know he's sitting in back now and he's thinking, oh, what's Ryan going to say now? I know exactly what he's thinking. We don't play him full stop.
Don't even play him at all for this game?
No, because it's too early, right? He's only just come back from injury. I know that there's people who are definitely, and I know KVP is a big supporter of Kulusevski, and I know there's a lot of people who will probably disagree with me on that, but you've got to think about it realistically, right? He's only just come back from injury. Do we want to re-injure him? Really, this early?
Yeah, you're just thinking about like just re-injuring him again, but with the World Cup in mind, right? Is it worth that risk? Because then you can bring him back over the World Cup, repair him over that time period. What do you make of it? Like, is it worth that risk? It's a good point you bring up, though, right?
Like, yeah, I mean, because Sweden didn't make the World Cup, did they?
No, they didn't. So he's going to be.
He'll be
boot camp.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to play him against Forest, yeah, right, for like the last 5-10 minutes in the League Cup, fine, right? Because he'll get a little bit of match fitness, yeah, right? And then we don't play him against Leeds, right? And then we wait until the World Cup starts and we bring him back to full fitness, and then he'll be ready to start firing properly in January. Personally, that's my opinion. But like, I mean, there's going to be people, and I know there's going to be people in the comments, and I know that KVP will definitely disagree.
He's a little patient though too. He's being a little patient with them. I think he wants to bring him on at halftime or whatever it is. So he's also being slightly patient as well, Ryan. Carl Simpson saying here, Decky has been okay for a week now. Just didn't want to rush him. Also, Decky has no World Cup, so he will be desperate to play. I think so too, Carl. I'm just a little bit impatient. Ryan, last question, my man, and then I got to get to the other guests here. Thanks for getting us started, brother. Give me that score prediction.
Do you know what? I was a bit too much of a realist going into the game against Marseille, and I'm literally throwing stones into greenhouses at this point. But Conte's got Klopp's number. Their defense is just as bad as ours at the moment because there's not a lot. So I'm probably going to say a 3-2 win.
3-2 win. That sounds like an epic game. That sounds like an epic game. Really does, actually. It almost is really what should have happened when we drew with them at our own place, I believe, right? Because what was that, 2-2? Did that end up being 2-2 at our own place last season?
Yeah.
It was a draw.
It did.
It was a draw.
Yeah.
It ended up being 2-2. I think, what was it? It was Dele Alli that I think needed to bury it. Yeah, it was Dele Alli that missed him. So
this is going to be a surprise winner from everybody who's going to probably think I'm a bit crazy in all this. But I think Lucas is actually going to get the winner.
It's in his blood. It's in his blood. He's got it in him. We know he does. But Ryan, thanks for getting us started, my man. 3-2, I'll take it. Certainly sounds like an epic game, brother. You enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah.
Big up, Ryan.
Come on, you Spurs!
Absolutely. Big up, Ryan. Everybody show him some love, people. And also, I think that was one of his better calls, especially recently. So everybody, big him up. Gotten us started today as well. Absolute legend. Sebas, I agree, though. I mean, the Yanks beating Argentina, that would be absolutely glorious. P-Dubs, feel free to message me, my man. P-Dubs, just message me, brother. Just message me, brother, on WhatsApp or whatever, if you got my number. But I gotta, run the show at the same time. But big up, P-Dubs. Good to see you in here. But we're bringing on the KPV next. Here
Hello.
How we doing?
Good.
You switched your shirt. You switched your shirt, KPV.
Yeah, the Kulu shirt got a bit of chocolate on it as I was eating, so I need to get it cleaned and ready for Sunday. So I'm wearing a Gareth Bale shirt from.
Are you washing it yourself, or are you taking it to the dry cleaners? How do you? Because it's a Kulusevski kit, KPV. You got to handle that very delicately,
Yeah,
we have.
I'm gonna pull it in the washing machine in a minute, and
good man.
Then pull it on the dryer in my bedroom. Then
do it on like a low tumble or something. Nothing too crazy. You don't want anything happening to that kit there. It's a nice, beautiful kit, especially with Kulusevski, right? We got to be taking care of him. We're handling that injury. KPV, you got to handle that kit the same way. You got to handle it delicately.
Yeah, handle it delicate. Yeah, I'm gonna handle that, and yeah, I'm gonna wear it for the big game on Super Sunday at 4:30. Tottenham smashed Liverpool for the first time in 10 years. We're gonna smash them. It's time to smash them up. Their defense is bad as ours, and yeah, Ryan knows what I'm gonna say. I start Lucas and bring Kulu on in the second half for him to get the winner. We are the comeback kings. We score late goals. We done that when Ericsson was playing. We scored late goals. So now we're doing it late goals again under Conte. Late goals. Let's do it Sunday. But we'll go 1-0 up and then we'll score at least 3 more in the second half. But yeah, I say 4-1 Tottenham and Kulu to get the winner. Everyone's buzzing he's back. I am, but we're missing just 3 players. Sonaldo, Richie and Kuti. But they're watching and
so you want to be patient with KPV. So what I'm getting is that with Kulusevski, our precious Kulusevski, you're happy to play like a 3-5-2, it sounds like, with like Lucas and Kane up top, and then you'll bring on Kulusevski later. Is that how you kind of want to go about it against Liverpool?
Yeah, I'd
start just Kane and Lucas up top, something like that.
I'd go Kane and Lucas, yeah, then bring Kulu on in the second half to get the winner. You don't want to start him because he'll get injured again. So that we don't want to start him. So I know he wants to start, but I don't want to start him so he'll get injured again. I'd start him on the bench, then second half bring him on because he's always done that. Last season he did, so I bring him off the bench, and yeah, bring him off the bench. He always makes an impact. Roll off the bench every time we bring him off the bench. So I start Kane and Lucas, then bring Kulu off. So what I would do.
Could we move to like a 3-4-3 or something like that? KPV. Let's say we start out 3-5-2. Could we move to like a 3-4-3 in the second half?
Yeah, 3-4-3. Kane, Kulu, and Hill. Maybe Kane, Kulu, and Hill. The front 3 in the second half. That would be brilliant. Hill to make an impact. He's done that the last couple of games. So Hill deserves a chance. Maybe give Hill a chance. Son's out, but yeah, he deserves a chance to start. Brian Hill, Messi, David calls him. I know he's probably watching.
What do you make of Hill Messi's loan sort of situation? Are you okay to see him on loan? Is that maybe what's best for all of us, despite how much Wayne Bonner and I love the kid, KPV? is it the best move to send Hill Messi out on loan?
Like, probably, yeah, but I don't want him going on loan. Like, I
You want him
heard
sticking around?
yeah, I probably don't know where he's going to go on loan to. Like, probably back to Spain again. But I
Yeah, we
don't know
don't want
where we're
that.
going to loan him to. Like, I heard we're going to find someone who can play in Kulu's role. Like, that's what we'll do in January. Like, hopefully we can find someone who can play in Kulu's position. A
Do you know
right
anything
wing.
about that Malinowski guy? All I can tell you, KPV, is that I've seen nobody hit a ball harder than him sometimes. I mean, he's got an absolute rocket of a left
Yeah,
foot, kind of like when KPV is one-on-one with the goalkeeper in FIFA. He just absolutely smashes it, you know. So
yeah,
what do you
I
make of
like
that?
him.
Malinowski, would you be okay with that, or would you want
Yeah,
something
I'd
a
be
bit better?
okay with him. He's a brilliant player. Like Sim said, he doesn't want him, but I want him. So Sim's getting that all wrong. I want him. Ben would take him, and
You should try to beat him with Malinowski in FIFA, my man.
yeah, I'll try and beat Sim with a player. Yeah, like yeah, I want him. I think he can do. He will do great. Like he wants to come anyway, because he even said that in the summer he would love to work under Conte. Like I believe he's played with Romero before,
Hmm.
so why
Yeah,
not?
at Atalanta, you're spot on there, KPV.
So why
Absolutely
not?
spot on.
I'd sign him up. And like I heard, Bonucci wants to leave Juventus. Like, let's sign him.
You,
Bonucci.
I don't know about Bonucci, KPV. He seems a little old.
I
And
want, yeah, I want Bonucci because Kulu, Bentancur, Romero, and Conte and Paratici know him well. So why
mm,
not get Brian
that's true.
Daigle's twin brother at the club? Brian Daigle lookalike.
Absolutely. We need some more Dago lookalikes in the team. I can't argue
Yeah, I
against
like
that. Definitely.
Bonucci. Yeah, so Conte
Definitely
knows
can't
him
argue
well.
with that.
Our
What do
players
you make
know
of the
him.
fact? What do you make of the fact, KPV, that Spurs supporters are looking at more like quality players now, like in January? Is that sort of, make you happy? Is that maybe upsetting that we didn't do that before? Is overall, I think it's good news, right? But what do you make of
Yeah,
the fact that Spurs are going after quality maybe instead
quality.
of
Yeah,
quantity now, right?
quality. Yeah, quality. Like we should have done that in the summer, but we didn't do that because I was not happy. We didn't do that. We wanted quality players, but some of them didn't want to come to us. Like I probably agree with Bastoni's statement. He didn't want to leave because he came through the academy at Inter, but like he's I think he's on into the last year of his contract at Inter, so why not try and sign him in January? Quality player, won the title of Conte last year, not this year, last year. So why not?
Why not? Why not, my
Send it
man?
back. I know we need a
What does he
right.
need this January? Does he need two center backs, a center back and a right wing? What does he need this January, Conte, to
Um,
keep pushing and also to improve the team?
think he needs um two centre backs and a right wing and maybe a right back and what someone said a attacking midfielder like a Madison maybe because like everyone's been calling for him to come, so yeah, maybe they're the few ones he needs. Like why not get them players in and we are in the title picture. Like we're only 5 points behind them lot the
Dunkel
top of
Z
the league.
Torque saying KPV quality hopefully means we go for established players and not players for the future. So unfortunately, that means no more Hill Messi sort of buys. We have to go after the big dogs. KPV. We got to go after the top shelf sort of players. Panucci, I think, is maybe to a degree has a big name and is one of the top shelf sort of players. Perhaps a bit past his sell by date is how I sort of see it. But KPV, it makes me excited that Spurs supposedly are going after January sort of kind of quality upgrades. But maybe just to get a bit of kind of Brian Daigle into this conversation, KPV, is this maybe all just news just for the sake of news? Perhaps Daniel Levy is just saying this just to get people like you and I excited, and then we'll end up not really signing any quality players of any kind
Um,
in January. How do you see it going down? Will we sign some big dogs in January, or will we be maybe left a bit underwhelmed?
we'll we will definitely sign some big dogs in January because that's what we want. We don't want to keep doing what we did in the summer. We did not sign quality players. So we don't want to be left with that again. We don't want to be messed with. Levy already messed us around, and he finally listened to us and backed Conte. Like people saying he wasn't backed, but Conte was backed in the summer, and he wanted the players he wanted, but like
Hmm.
Perisic, Richarlison were like Richarlison chose us over Arsenal because they didn't qualify for Champions League, and Perisic rejected Chelsea. That's the Croatian
And Richie did
player.
too. I think Richie kind of rejected them as well, like in a sense. I think he saw that Spurs had more intent to sign him than I think Chelsea did. So in a way, I think he actually rejected
Yeah,
sort of
he
the likes
rejected
of Spurs. Killian
Spurs.
Gubens has a question for you here, KPV. He says, "Who does he want to start for Liverpool, Emerson or Doherty? Who do you want to start against Liverpool?"
Um, like I'd probably say Emerson Chicken Royale. David calls him Emerson Chicken Royale, not the Irish Cafu, because I know, I believe Emerson Chicken Royale did start in this fixture last season, and
Mm,
he was taken out by Andy Robertson. He
that's right.
even took
Got the
him
red
out.
card.
And bad tackle by Robbo, so hopefully Emerson's still recovering from that tackle by the Scotsman. But
Maybe ready to put a little revenge on him, you could say.
yeah, maybe revenge is coming. Like we should have won at home against them last season if it wasn't for Dele Alli missing, the
Yeah.
chance and Son missing. But as Son said, he doesn't want Liverpool to take the 3 points at our ground. We want to take the 3 points, but he's probably going to say that, but he ain't going to play. So yeah,
You're
let's
going
win.
so instead of the Irish Cafu, I know Killian wants the Irish Cafu to play KPV. You're going with the Chicken Royale instead.
Yeah, I'm going for Chicken Royale instead because I believe Emerson did start this game and the Irish Cafu
Nice.
didn't. So,
There you go,
but
Killian. There you go, Killian. There's KPV's answer there. And also
yeah,
for Killian here, Kyle, can I get a score prediction for this weekend? Tell me how this game's going to go down.
this is how it's going to go down. We're going to go 1-0 up at half. We're going to go 1-0 up heading into half time. Second half, Lucas comes off, Kulu comes on,
Yes.
Kulu scores the winner. Then the whole of the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium will be walking. Like
Come on.
the fans are gonna be screaming louder when Kulu scores the winner in stoppage time. We've scored some winners in stoppage time, including that night in Amsterdam. Lucas done it, amazing hat trick. So it's time for Kulu to score a hat trick, like in stoppage time. But that's not going to happen. But he has scored what 6 goals and got 10 assists already this year. But why not? Kulu, Bentancur, Kane, and Højbjerg, 4-1 Tottenham.
Come
Those
on.
are the goal
Sounds like
scorers.
a Man United game.
Like I said that, but yeah, but Laurie's had a brilliant game at Old Trafford, making the save of the season. But it's time to smash these lot up. They're doing poor, but their form going to the game's not pretty good. They've lost back-to-back games, lost to Forest, and lost to Leeds United. So
Hmm.
there, let's just keep that record going. They're going to lose 3 games on the bounce, and I want to beat them. Conte has Klopp's number, so 4-1 Tottenham as it was under Poch 2017. Let's do it 4-1 again.
Hmm.
And but I know one
Or
person
one
who,
loving it.
yeah, I know one person's going to be watching this game is Wanyama because he scored a banger at Anfield. When yeah, Wanyama will be watching the game,
He's probably
and
jealous of Højbjerg's bangers recently. He wants to see Højbjerg
and
do the same thing.
yeah, like this is the Pierre Crouch derby because Crouch has played for both of these clubs. Will be keen, but the sad news is there'll be no late show tonight because Brian Daigle said on Me Tottenham TV he's got someone going to see him, so that's a bit sad. So don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to be bored. I'll just probably play FIFA. So
Oh.
then I'll
Who's
watch.
that? Who's letting the dogs out this weekend, Kyle? I got a few more questions for you, and then I can let you go, let you out of prison here. Who's letting the dogs out?
Yeah, it's you, Jack, and Ellie.
Oh, yes.
Three.
The
And
Højbjerg lovers letting out the dogs this weekend.
yeah. So Monday, let's hope we'll be sitting here on the fan show Monday night talking about the 4-1 win Spurs against Liverpool.
Come on.
And I'll see you all on Monday. And as always, Levy out. Come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs. Well done, KPV.
Ryan. Have you joined my league, Jack? I sent you the code.
I will, KPV. Keep reminding me, my man. Just keep reminding me, and I will, my man. I appreciate that. And I'll get in there.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Kyle. Absolute legend. Absolute legend, everybody. Show Kyle some love. Who does KPV on that back of the shirt? I could tell you that he was washing his Kulusevski shirt for the weekend. He spilled a bit of chocolate on it, looks like, Simon. And now he's, taking it to the washer right away. It's probably why he had to get out of there, is to get that stain out. You can only let it sit for so long, Simon. Big up, my man. Really, Emerson has played quite well against Liverpool, but Kyle Doherty didn't want to play the Irish Cafu, Killian. He didn't want to. Big up, my man, and really appreciate your support, brother. You're absolutely way too kind, and really appreciate your support from the beginning, brother. We need a miracle against Liverpool, absolutely. But let's keep going here. Mark New is the next one we're bringing on. Had such a good chat with him last time on Friday. Mark, if you're there.
Yeah, I'm there. Yeah, can I see you?
Alrighty. Oh. How we doing, Mark?
Yeah. Just grab my yeah.
No worries at all. More Juventus rejects, says DJ Samuel. Definitely need more Juventus rejects to adore. Dumfries, absolutely like Dumfries, but when I did a video on him,
boys, hey,
how we doing, Mark?
Fine. I just got my mic in. So, how you doing, mate? How are you?
It is a pain doing it, getting it all set up. I definitely feel you there. I definitely feel you there. Well, there's so many different talking points, I must say, Mark, that I kind of had Kulu. Is there something that you wanted to start off with right away, and then I can guide you, or should I get you started?
Well, I think as people are saying, obviously with Kulu, it says absolutely massive news that Kulu's back.
What do you do? Do you remain patient? Do you start him right away like I am? I kind of want to be impatient and just play him right away.
Well, I think in terms of Kulu, he can't be 100% fully fit yet. So my feeling is he's going to come off the bench. But I think he's bound to start Lucas first, Kulu off the bench in the second half. There's all these memes going round. They say, I'm not sure you've seen it. They're all laughing. Talking about what's the kickoff time on Sunday. It said for Liverpool, kickoff time's 4:30. For Spurs, 5:30. First time.
That was my joke when it came to Kulusevski, right? I think I wanted to play him the whole 90 minutes, but whoever it was, I think it was Ryan, was just basically saying no need because we only show up in the second half, so just play him in the second half. Nice flat cap, looking smart there. Looking smart there, Mark.
Cheers, man. So
you just bring him on in the second half because we don't even play in the first half.
I mean, so in first half, I think first half players will either be conserving their energy. It'll be a Conte plan. They'll be passing backwards, sideways, all the running around. It's going to be a little bit rough to watch. But hopefully, let's say, as bad as we are, Liverpool right now, they are worse. They've been struggling so bad since Mane left.
But is this a Dr.
really
bad scenario, Mark? Is this a Dr. scenario?
Possibly. I mean, the other thing I think Daigle said in other shows as well, the thing is with Liverpool, they lost the league. They lost the league last season. The Champions League they lost as well, and that really hit. And I think it's not just physically, but I think emotionally as well. That really hit the players hard. It takes, as I think in fairness to us, when we lost the 2019 final, it's not just the physical defeat, but it's the emotional defeat. The players was really, it took a bit of time to come back. So I think for Liverpool now, it was so personal with them when they lost to City. Losing the league was bad for them. Losing to Madrid as well. It was tough.
I think you're right. I think it was probably they're still emotionally raw from it. Perhaps losing Amane, they didn't realize had also an impact. on the tactics, as well as maybe even the mentality. Perhaps Mane brought a sort of mentality into the team that kind of brought players we never know. You're spot on there, Mark. But they lost to Forest. I mean, very few teams lose to Forest, and I believe was it away from home? So, and also, I mean, what was funny about that game was I didn't get to see the whole of it, but what I did see was Virgil van Dijk, behave like a defender in front of the opposition goal, which was very fun to see. Continue to clear off of Forest's line for them, do a bit of defending for them. But then against Leeds, he lost to our favorite Ted Lasso and helped him get a bit of encouragement back. Is it the case that Liverpool are just really poor right now? Or are they going to turn it around at some stage, like people say they will? Because that's what I'm confused about. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, they'll turn it around. They'll turn it around." Will they though? Like, and I'm wondering, is this the game that they turn it around in?
Well, they may do. They've got potential game winners there. But the thing I think was interesting for me, it was when Leeds scored. But I think when Leeds scored was in like the final minute. And as people say, like Fergie's time, that is now Tottenham time. If they're giving away a goal in the last couple of minutes, which team in the Premiership are absolute past masters at winning a game, just nicking it in the last couple of minutes? That's us. And if we've got players coming off the bench who are young, who are fit, who are fast, throw on Gil Messi. If he wants to play Spency, he's not going to play the whole game. I think it's people saying like Spency, he's odds on to play the Carabao Cup against Forest, the last game before the World Cup break. But rather than play him just then, you've got to give him a bit of game time now, and to bring him on fresh when Liverpool are vulnerable. I would love to see both Spence and Gil running at them, as I'm saying, from like both wings. They won't know what's hit them. Both wings.
So basically, could we go like this? Could we go into this game and Dunkel Z Torque is asking the question here, when in the second half do you bring Kulusevski on? So do we maybe go about it this way, Mark, where we 3-5-2, the ugliest, the meanest 3-5-2 we can find, assemble, the most negative 3-5-2 we can assemble. And just see out that half, hopefully don't concede like we always do. And then in the second half, we maybe move to a 3-4-3, bring on Kulusevski.
I think, So it's
And what time would you bring on Kulusevski? Do you do just right away at halftime, 60 minutes, 50 minutes?
I think probably at least after an hour, after 60 minutes. It's a nice time, because I think then Conte will really see what the shape of the game is, what's happening, what's the shape, the formations. I think that's going to be a nice time to bring him on. But I think in the first time, I thought people said also as well, with Perisic, should Perisic push forward in the first half?
This is the thing, though. If you were setting up the meanest and the ugliest 3-5-2, you wouldn't play Perisic. You'd play Sassuolo, right?
That's Well, So it's two. So it's always going to be.
Perisic though had a good game against Marseille, so I feel like he could play again. And also, do you feel like this is sort of a game where you go with that defensive grit of maybe Sessegnon, or can you risk Perisic again? Because I think he is starting to play a bit better going forward now. He's starting to show, he's been getting assists, but we know he can play a whole lot better. So how do you think about Perisic versus Sessegnon against Liverpool? Who do you play?
Ideally, I think the other thing, what Conte will do, you'll see who's fit, because I think the players who've been out in Marseille, they'll be physically exhausted, they'll be mentally exhausted, they'll be hard, they're doing all that stuff, all that dancing in the dressing room. They'll be tired after all the dancing, after all that stuff.
Be tired after the dance.
I think.
What did you think of Harry Kane's moves? Just quickly, by the way, did you, was that David maybe, teaching him, a few things? Perhaps he was with I don't know. He just looked like a Spurs fan, just overcome with joy. Harry Kane. It looked like it was hilarious because it's not even like he had a few Cronenbergs or anything. He was.
He was just flying.
He was just exactly. He was just buzzing. He was just buzzing. It was like watching a little kid, kind of.
He was just flying. He's there this year. So it's going to be a huge game. No,
I distracted you. It's going to be a huge
Liverpool,
game. I feel like they're a bit vulnerable in the back line, right? I think someone brought
Yeah.
up, I think it was Dark Sun G, who said no Matip is a huge loss for them, no Jota, no
Yeah.
Diaz. We're going to be
That's it.
without, what is it, Richarlison,
Yeah.
Romero, as well as another player I think I'm forgetting. So kind of both teams are going into this one with some real injury worries. But
Yeah.
where do you think Liverpool's weaknesses are, maybe?
Well, I mean, the thing is, well, I'm not. I mean, it's strange. I think in terms of Liverpool, it used to be, let's say, obviously in terms of, let's say, with their. It used to be in terms of, let's say, the intuition. When they pressed hard, they passed the ball. They never missed passes. Their possession was always 100%. And now when you see them, they're giving the ball away, which for a Liverpool team, you would never ever say that before. Now, I know obviously in terms of our possession hasn't always been that good, but I think if the players can build on what happened in France, and it was like that second half, every time you passed the ball, you knew the player was running on to get there. You just knew things, that there was that intuition that was happening.
Yeah. And no, speaking of which, I know I'm all over the place with the questions here, but I mean, speaking of players running all over the place, how about that last minute Viking run, from the Højbjerg? I don't think you were able. It was so late, so you weren't able to join us for the fan show. At least give me your thoughts on that Viking run and that Viking finish.
Well, if I say in terms of the one, obviously, I think it's people always say when Harry's laying on the ball, you want Harry to pass the ball, you want Harry to be on the other end of it to receive the ball as well. But he can't do both. Anything in terms of that, I think as people saw with Salzburg, the Viking, he was injured. He had half a leg. He could hardly walk. The next minute, Harry's saying he's got to pass to someone, and I think Salzburg obviously knew. He could see it was on. He could see the pass was on. He could see the run was on. He is someone, he will run through walls for you. Yeah. The Salzburg, the Viking, he will actually run through it. And when he has the ball, he's not going to do like an Emerson or a Dyer and balloon it into the car park next door. He's going to hit the beach or something. He sees it there, and it was power and it was pace. He placed it because he knew it had to be on target.
Does that qualify as a screamer?
Oh yeah.
Definitely. Okay, good.
It was
with the screamers, I loved discussing those things. What qualifies as a half volley? What qualifies as a screamer? I think that qualifies as a screamer because it's one of those where it's like the ball is still sailing. I think to this day, it's like the Wanyama finish against Liverpool. I think it's still sailing. Still flying. With also that finish though and that run, it was just such a great way. Last kick of the game, baller. Is that Højbjerg's maybe? He's a contentious player. He hasn't received, I think, the love maybe that he probably has deserved in the time that he's been here. Is that sort of his maybe final nail, to prove to Spurs fans that, he's the one maybe for us, that he's, I don't know, because it feels like Højbjerg doesn't always get the love that he deserves. So was that sort of goal, that sort of moment for him exactly what he needed, do you think, Mark?
Oh, that's true. And I think in years to come, people will say with Salzburg, that was his defining moment, his Ajax moment. Because it was his goal that really turned it. Because if we hadn't, because the thing is with the game, if we hadn't scored it, we could have got away with a draw. We could have held back, said, you know what, we'll take it easy, 1-1, we'll hang on. But to win means we get a much better draw in the next round. Hopefully, I think one thing is we miss out Bayern. So I think whatever draw we get will be a whole lot easier having won the group. And people will always say, whatever happens, I think the same with the way with. Lucas has a good game, a bad game. People always say, you know what? We've always got Ajax. And I think with Salzburg, people will say, have a good game, have a bad game. Years later, will say, you know what? Where were you that night in Marseille? They'll always say that about Salzburg. Always.
Love hearing that. Killian Guvens was saying, Jack, my friend, could you ask Mark if Nunez is a concern? Thoughts on Darwin Nunez? Do you rate him? Is he worth thinking about? What are your thoughts on Darwin Nunez, Mark?
He's a decent player. How should I put it? I think my feeling is with Nunez. Nunez. He's up for it. He's up for the challenge. But I think he's not quite. It's not quite the finished article yet. He's not quite there. So he'll have a good game. He'll miss some passes. Someone will go in. Someone will go. But I think with Nunez, is he injured? Or there was talk, and I don't know, is he not 100%? Because
He's
I know
been playing in the games recently, so I think he might be back and ready to go. Here's what I'll
fair
tell you,
enough,
Mark.
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
sort of made fun of him and slated him quite a lot via Twitter. So am I going to get that sort of karma via Nunez in this one? Because I'll be honest, like I really have been one of the, I've almost been like sort of Jason Cundy-ish, or
it's
almost
good to
Simon
see,
Jordan-ish. I've been really calling this guy out, and I've called him. I think I said at one stage, I went as far to say about Nunez that calling him a donkey is disrespectful to all donkeys across the world. And so I really have, really gone after him. Am I going to be, paying, am I going to be feeling the karma? Is he going to give us revenge, or is he really that bad that no matter what I say about him, he'll still not give me revenge? How do you see it going?
Sam, he may.
Oh.
Have it about us. We'll say, you may have a good day, you may have a bad day, but I think in terms of things with karma, I'm pleased you mentioned karma, because karma for me means only one thing with Liverpool. It was 2019, and I think the players, and I think the Tottenham players, they hold that so personally. Not just and I think my feeling is this will get passed down from generation to generation with Spurs players. Every time we play Liverpool, you know what? 2019, we deserved it. It was such a dodgy result in that. So in terms of karma, I think whether Nunes has a good day, has a bad day, they'll be in there. But I think karma will be much more on our side.
Love it.
I think karma. So I think as regards Sunday, karma will be wearing a white shirt. On the Sunday.
Absolutely. We need the karma on our side, especially we need the VAR on our side with how we know Liverpool get their VAR decisions. Absolutely. Two more questions for you, Mark. What are your kind of thoughts on maybe some of the January kind of stuff that's now starting to come about? Hill Messi is going to be thrown out on loan, it looks like. Maybe Malinowski, that guy at Atalanta coming in. And then also the news from Mally Gold saying that Spurs maybe looked at more quantity in the summer and maybe focused on how Conte put it right, the numerical aspect. And now in January and so on, they're going to be looking more at bringing in quality players. So any thoughts on kind of all that?
Yeah, it's a really good call. As I think if people said with January, it's completely different from the summer window. The summer window is a very long window. People can afford to release players because they can get replacements in. The January window is short. You can only sell a player when either you got the replacement in, or if the player was really holding your feet to the fire and he's literally saying like walk out on a free. So I think it's those sort of players will be available. I think, as you say, in terms of players in, Malinowski would be an ideal signing. I think I saw somewhere his family have been like looking at homes in London, or if not that,
we even had somebody from the Harris Army in Glasgow confirmed to us that Malinowski wants to play for us. So he even has had confirmed Harris Army tier one source from the Harris Army has told us that he wants to play for Spurs. Which, when I hear that, Mark, I'll be honest. This is, again, I've spoke to this before. I am one of those sentimental Spurs fans that get taken advantage of for being sentimental towards my players and things like that. But when I get told that a player wants to play for Spurs, especially when he tells somebody at the Harris Army that he wants to play for Spurs, I just feel like he could be completely worthless, and I still want to give him a try because, you just want to hear that about a player. You want to hear it's rare these days you get to hear that about a player that says they want to play for Spurs, they want to play for your manager, etc.
Oh, it's 100%, mate. Because I think people have said that some of the signings we were coming close to in the summer, people like Tielemans, on paper he's got everything would be a really good signing. But there's questions maybe say with his attitude, and if he's not 100% Tottenham, is he either going to sort of play the odd game, then he's not going to be there. But you want players like the Viking. You want players who will run through walls for you. Like someone like Malinowski, he's big, strong, he's skilled as well, he's talented. I think people say with his like right foot, he can like bang them in. But someone like him would be an absolutely massive signing.
would be a massive signing, and we're looking forward to that quality being brought in. Mark, give me your score prediction for this Sunday, my man. And how is this game going to go about? Give me that score prediction.
Well, as I said, I was checking through certain other views. Originally, I was going to go 2-1, but I heard KPV. He's gone 4-1. Or maybe I think maybe it's a little bit too far, but I reckon 3-1. We're going to take them. I reckon Kulu coming off the bench. He's going to score. I reckon it's going to be Harry, Kulu, Gill to score 3-1. Come on, you Spurs! Come on, you Tottenham! In Conte we trust.
Conte we trust. Absolutely
Come on,
love it,
boys.
Mark.
Come on,
Absolutely
Jack.
love
Come
that.
on, mate. Come on, Jack.
Come on, Mark.
Big up.
Absolutely love it. We'll be seeing you, my man. Come on, you Spurs. And Conte we
Cheers,
trust,
man.
Mark. Cheers. Big up, Mark. Everybody show that man some love. Another great call-in from our Mark. Absolute legend he is. Really enjoy chatting with him and really enjoy everything he has to say. Just love all his takes. Has great energy, I think, as a Spurs fan as well. So please, everybody, show Mark some love, please. But we're going to keep going here. We're going to keep motoring on here. Feel free to get your comments in, everybody. I'm going to keep bringing up on screen as well as, fire them to the panelists as I have been throughout the show. And as well, feel free to throw in a super chat if you do want to take priority, if you do want to skip that queue and have your comments as well as your opinions be heard. It's also a great way to support the channel. But let's go on to, I think it's Mia. Yes. No, wait. Phil. It's Phil's turn. Sorry, I got the order all wrong. Phil, hope you're ready for me. Big up.
Yo, what's happening, Jack?
What are we thinking about? Should we just talk about Marseille? I think you were up with us talking about Marseille and, the Viking and all that stuff. I appreciate you, staying up late with us. But
Yeah.
Phil, anything, that you wanted to touch on about Marseille and that magical night, or should we just get into Liverpool, get stuck in there?
Yeah, I think we covered Marseille. It was a very tight game. I think we deserved it overall, especially in the second half performance. First half was shocking. Bit of the same old this season.
Can I give you kind of that? I just want your take on this because I kind of gave my real feelings on this. Maybe something I haven't been able to ask everybody about yet. That whole, the coincidence of all these Argentina players falling victim to injury, right? And believe me, I know it's a thing. I understand it's a thing that these Argentina players are kind of like, waiting and not risking themselves before this World Cup. I sort of want to give Romero the benefit of the doubt here, Phil, that I don't think he falls in that bracket. I will admit that he definitely is receiving pressure from his FA, from his national team, from his teammates to probably not risk himself, to probably not push himself, to maybe even fake an injury in some way, shape or form. But he just doesn't come across to me as that sort of guy. And he's even tried to push himself through injuries in the past, like when he even had Argentina games, coming up and whatnot. Apparently he said to Conte, "Play me, coach." And Conte said, "No, like, I'm not going to play you." And so it just shows that I think I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, but you don't need to. I mean, where do you stand on it? Where do you stand on it?
I don't believe it for a second. I think Romero isn't that type of player. I think he wants to play every single game for Tottenham Hotspur. And I just think it's rumours, if I'm honest. I think Romero is that type of player where he's very aggressive play. He just wants to play football every single game. I know he's passionate about his country, but I don't believe in these rumours about them wanting to save themselves for the World Cup. I mean, at the moment, it's all about their club. They shouldn't be thinking about the World Cup at the minute. They've got a job to do. They've got to be professional, and they've just got to think about their club rather than their country at the minute.
Where I sort of stand as well is that I sort of sympathize even with him because I know that pressure is there and I know that pressure is very real. They've even had like leaked reports of Argentina's FA deliberately telling the players to like not play their last few games before the World Cup, etc. Like, not every national team does that. Not every FA does that. I don't immediately then assume all the players then will do that. I actually sympathize with the players because I think that's a difficult predicament to find yourself in, because you obviously want to play for both teams and you want to play for both teams with as much passion and as with much effort. But if one is actually asking you to put in more effort than the other, it's that sort of actual break of like code, or it's like a
Well,
break of like a rule or something.
yeah.
That's me. I
Well,
feel bad for players that have to be asked that.
yeah, it's difficult not only for the player, but it's difficult for Conte as well.
Right.
I mean, if he's getting pressured about Romero not being played at the minute because of the World Cup, then he's got a bit of a dilemma there, hasn't he? But yeah, like I say, I don't think. I think Romero isn't that type of player. I think he wants to play every game. If he's getting pressured by the Argentinian FA, then that's on them. But I don't think he's faking injuries or anything like that. He's not that type of player at all.
Just doesn't seem. It's just not his character. It's just not his character. I'm with you there. Sonny's injury. Any thoughts on that? I mean, it's heartbreaking because what we're basically hoping for is like a successful surgery, and also that they want to basically see if, I think what it was from what I got was that sort of bone right underneath his eye socket. What they're hoping for is some sort of like clean break. So that I kept saying Argentina so much earlier, so that the surgery can actually be a lot easier, less complicated. So it really is that severe that we're talking about like a clean break and like words like that. So I really am hopeful that Sonny does have a successful operation and is able to make the World Cup, because that'd be heartbreaking if he couldn't make the World Cup.
It is heartbreaking that he's going to be out. Like you say, if it is a clean break, then he may be able to wear a mask for the games, and that's what they usually do. But yeah, I mean, it might do him a little bit of good being out at the minute. He's not on the best of form. So it might do him a bit of good. Albeit I want him to be on the pitch every single game, because he's one of our class players, isn't he? So but yeah, it's such a shame, especially for Sonny. Everyone's loved by Sonny, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's a shame that he's had that injury, but I think
the world of football loves him. That's about it. He's one of those type of players. He's like an N'Golo Kante, I think, type player. But everybody loves him secretly.
With the Liverpool game, just want to touch on that. How we're going to set up in that game. I think a 3-5-2 we should start with in that game, because I think our midfield will win us that game. I think if we pack that midfield with Basuma, Højbjerg, and Bentancur, if he is fit, then I think that's where the game will be won. If in the second half that we're chasing the game, or it's still a draw, we can switch to that 3-4-3 and bring Kulu on in the second half.
Especially if we don't show up in the first half, right? That's kind of been the joke. Or maybe go to the 3-4-3. What we know works is the 3-4-3 at the time being. Go to that in the second half. Start with the 3-5-2. And I asked Mark earlier, not sure if you heard it, but that means with that sort of in mind, right? Do we go with the ugliest and the meanest 3-5-2 and just play the most disgusting football for 45 minutes and then just play the beautiful, silky, all in their face kind of football in the second half? Is that how we kind of go about it for this one?
I just think we've got a much better midfield than them. I think they're an aging midfield. I think
it's true.
You've got the likes of you got the likes of Thiago, Henderson. Who else have they got in that midfield? Fabinho, I do rate.
They even say Fabinho's not even playing for them anymore. I've heard they say like his head's like gone. Those players mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can overrun them in midfield. I think that's where we can win the game. I think we start with Lucas and Kane up front, and then I would play Perisic left, and then I'd give Emerson a slot in that position, because I think he's good defensively.
No Irish Cafu tomorrow, just for Killian Gubbins here, who's very disappointed to be hearing that. I mean Irish Cafu tomorrow.
I am a bit of a Doherty fan more than Emerson, that. But I think in this game, I think we should start with Emerson because of his defensive capabilities. And I think Longley deserves to be in that centre back role. So I think he's playing really well there.
Keep playing him there through the centre.
I think so. I think it's working well. I think his passing abilities is brilliant in that centre back role. So I'd play him there and then play Dyer the side of him on the right, and then play Davis left.
I'm with it. And also maybe with sort of that, two things actually I'm kind of going to touch on here. You kind of giving me some things to talk about. Really loving this combo. With Sonny's injury in mind, but with Kulusevski coming back, I mean, how torturous is that? Like I spoke about this earlier, like the fact that Kulusevski is now kind of coming back, and supposedly we were kind of, really keeping it a delicate situation because we obviously wanted maybe Kulusevski to come back really fully fit to join Kane and Son, who have been needing him and had been waiting for him to come back.
Yeah.
Now that Sonny is injured, it's just like the torture and the unluckiness. It's
one step forward, one step back, isn't it? It's just bad luck on our part at the minute with the injuries, and this is why January is vital, because we've been talking about the quality instead of the quantity, but I do think we need quantity in there as well with the injuries that we're having. But yeah, I think we do need definitely quality in there. If we're going to,
were you happy to hear that? It was kind of probably relieving to hear that. Yeah. So
if we're going to be challenging for honours, then we do need at least 3 quality world class players in our team to start in that, especially in that back line.
Yeah, and also as well though, like when it comes to like bringing in, quality and now instead of quantity, I sort of kind of said like, did we even do the quantity part perfectly, over the summer? I kind of still think maybe we left some holes in there, and so it's relieving to hear that we are getting the quality in, but maybe a bit of a skeptic question, and this isn't really coming from me. I'm usually more of a a blind believer than a skeptic, but where do you stand? Is it kind of just classic sort of propaganda, maybe from the club, suggesting that they're gonna, go after big players? Are we going to be left underwhelmed? How do you see it?
Yeah, I think it's balancing the books as well on Levy's part. I think, I think we got rid of quite a lot of players before the season started. So I don't think we addressed that quantity side because we were just replacing players that we'd sent out. I think Perisic is a quality signing. I think Bassoum is a quality signing as well.
It always feels a bit harsh, right, to then say those are quantity signings, because it's like Bassouma is light years better than what we had. It was Winks or Lo Celso or Indom,
that's an upgrade, isn't it?
Or Ndombele to choose from. Like it is like it's unfair to them, but it's better to see it this way. I was speaking about this earlier, though, and where obviously David feels like we need to upgrade massively is in those center back areas. And David, I think, has said 2 center backs at least. We spoke about this on the podcast. Over for Davinson Sanchez, like we all wanted him to go maybe a while ago, but the fact that he hasn't been trusted in that Marseille game, like that's basically his spot, that right-sided center back spot, and he wasn't trusted with Marseille. He was pulled off at one stage, I think, against Bournemouth. He's been pulled off, I think, in another game. I think it was Newcastle. I believe he was pulled off as well. Do you feel like Sanchez, it actually might be over for him? Maybe he is going to be moved on in January, or they've kind of given up on him maybe finally?
I think he could well go in January. I don't know how much value he would be. Probably around the 15 million to 20 million mark, maybe. Probably 15, actually. But he's not helping himself in his performances. Conte has given him chances to be in that team, and he hasn't taken them. He's just not. He's not good enough for our team. I don't even think he's good enough to be a squad player either. Because if you bring him in, us Spurs fans, we're not confident of him being in our back line at all. So he's been there for how long now? And he's
most expensive defender, I think, as well. Before Romero came in, he was our most expensive defender ever. It's not like we've invested a lot in that back line, let's be honest. But
that's fine.
It's the most expensive ever.
Yeah. Well, is that Hitchens signing?
I believe it was a Hitchin one.
Yeah. That explains it then.
Stinks of a Hitchin one, at least. Stinks of a Hitchin one. But I just think it's over for him, and he's been given a lot of chances. And at least what we know is that if that means it's over for him, we'll do whatever we can do to try to move him on in January.
Yeah,
If we can actually sell him in January, I'm not
I'd
sure.
rather that.
Do you think we could find a way to get a transfer fee probably from
I
somebody?
think so. Probably not in, well, maybe in England, but I think abroad is probably his likely destination. I think we do need to just get rid of him. I don't think.
Because we can't just have 5, 6 center backs, and
No,
then
no,
only
no.
not use 3 of them. Because that's some people just say, just get him in, worry about it later. It's like, well,
Yeah.
you do have to realize then you have like 3 center backs that you're not using. Then you have
Yeah.
Tanganga, Sanchez, and Dyer that you won't be using.
There's still a bit of deadwood in. Yeah, there's still some deadwood in our team at the minute that we need to get rid of. To balance the books and get them off the wage bill. But yeah, I think it's
so
the
2 center halves for
window.
you. Can we get 2 center halves in January, or is it more likely 1? Do you feel like we'll probably be brought in?
I think Bonucci.
What are your thoughts on the Bonucci? I kind of slammed it. You're into it?
I like that signing.
It's like a Thiago Silva, right?
I think because I've always been saying about this leadership in the back three, and I think he epitomises leadership. I think he's
someone
that would be a great signing for us. I think
I can't argue against that, the leadership, and also how much we have gone blue in the face about that.
Yeah.
I mean, you got me dead there on that
Yeah.
one. That's
I think he's got the experience in the Champions League. He's got the leadership. He's got a bit of shithousery as well. I think he'd be a great signing, Jack. I think it'd be brilliant.
It's an interesting.
He is aging a bit, but
he's aging in a bit. But he looks pissed right now over at Juventus. So I bet he actually probably
he
played
started
really
that
well.
way.
I bet he played really well when he came here because he looks so angry with Allegri over there. He looks so like just. He looks done. Maybe he's happy to have Conte back, so you never know. Could he be like a Thiago Silva? Because we saw Thiago Silva move to the Premier League when we thought it was basically the end of his career, etc. And he proved to be brilliant, right, in the Premier League. But someone like Koulibaly, also 31, I think 32 when he made his move over here, he's had a rough time by coming over to the Premier League. So with Bonucci, how do you stand? Is it going to go like a Thiago Silva, or is it going to go like a Koulibaly?
I think he'd fit in perfectly. I do.
He'd play right in the middle, I bet. He'd play Dyer's position for sure.
He'd play in that centre. I think Conte would be perfect for him as well. I think it's just his leadership really that's important. What we need. We haven't got any leadership in that team, apart from Højbjerg, which is I think he should be the next captain. I don't think it should be this season because I think it would disrupt the group. But I think next season he should be the captain going forward.
I have a feeling they will be because the Twitter of the official Twitter of Spurs have like over the course of the year have been kind of like doing these things with like Højbjerg, where it's like even just today they were like, when Højbjerg speaks, we listen. Like, they did something like that as the title. And they did like another thing this season where kind of like just showing a sort of leadership, and everything. It sort of feels like they're kind of warming us up to the idea of PDH becoming the captain. And I'm all for it. I mean, I'm
all for it, Jack. I think he's he'd be a great leader for us. I think, he's captain material, 100%.
Can I get a score prediction for Sunday, and also any other things that maybe you wanted to talk about that I maybe didn't let you talk about?
I think it'll be a 2-2.
Okay.
Yeah,
like last time.
Yeah. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. I think it'll be a very, very close game with the injuries that we've got. I think it'll be a good result, a 2-2. I think it would be with the injuries that we've got. So I think it'll be a tight game, but 2-2 is my prediction.
Yeah, alrighty. And then anything, I'll take it, Desmond. I'll take it, but I don't want Dele Alli missing that sitter again. I'd rather just not have that happen again. I'd rather just be 2-2 because that's what made me. That's what I was so. I remember just being livid actually after that game because we missed so many chances. I remember 2-2. 2-2 felt like a loss actually after that game. I remember when 90 minutes happened. It felt like a loss. The next day, I think we were all like, wow, we played really great. At least we can say that we played great. But I remember.
Yeah, it was an opportunity missed in that game.
I was at least livid we didn't win that game.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I do think it'll be a 2-2, but we could nick it if Cooley comes on, and we switch to that 3-4-3, and we're still in the game, and we're
I
still
think we could bury
drawing.
them, especially Liverpool. They don't seem like a team that's like the most in shape, you could
Yeah,
say. Like you
yeah.
feel like you could kind of catch
I
them in
think
the second
Cooley
half.
could be the difference in the last stages of the game. If we're still at 0-0, 1-1, I think he could be the difference, and I think maybe he could get an assist or score himself towards the end of the game. That's what I'm hoping for, but I do think it'll be a 2-2 draw.
I'm liking it. I like it. I'll take 2-2. I think it's still a good result at the end of the day. I think most
Yeah.
Spurs fans will take a draw, especially with the injuries we have. Let's be honest. It's not even like we have a full squad. We don't even have our secret weapon against Liverpool and Sonny. So I think 2-2 still a great result. Anything, like I said, Phil, should I just let you go? Is there anything that you wanted to say before I let you go that maybe you didn't get the chance, or
On
just 2-2 and end it at that?
Yeah, on the just to talk about Hill, I think he is showing promising signs of being a good player at Tottenham Hotspur. I think
The prophecy isn't over. The prophecy isn't.
Nah, definitely not. He's showing signs of a very quality, a good quality player. But I think a loan would do him good. But I'd rather be him being England on loan. Rather than in
Spain,
the Spanish league or something like that.
I think Spain, him going back there is silly. I'd rather he just go to Germany or something than Spain even. I'd rather he just go to a different country than Spain. Even him just like have to learn a different league, learn different defenders. Yeah. That you were saying with England.
Yeah, he ain't going to get the game time at the minute in our team. So I think if he went to one of the lower league teams in the Prem, and get a lot of game time, I think that could put him in good stead for next season.
I mentioned Burnley on the podcast, because they're playing some progressive football. I can't believe I'm saying this. Burnley and progressive football in the same sentence, let alone the same paragraph, let alone the same page.
Yeah, that's all to do with company. That is, it's
right. So maybe over there, like a team that's actually playing a type of football where because I think what you want is you want to play for a team that will get plenty of the ball, but he'll get plenty of opportunities to make some magic happen. But you also want to play in a league where he gets roughed up a bit and he gets pushed around a bit. So the championship, I think, at first I kind of said to Dave, I was against it because I think the defenders in the championship, he'll find quite easy. Of course, they'll rough against him and they'll push him around, but I think he will kind of embarrass them a lot. But perhaps playing for like a team that plays more like a Premier League team, like a Burnley or something like that, and I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, it could actually be beneficial to him because I don't want him loaned to any championship squad. I want him loaned to a squad that plays a bit more progressive type football, like because you don't want him sitting behind the ball for 80 minutes.
You want him playing for a team that's quite fluid. You know what I mean? That's what you want. Look at the way the Spanish players play. That's where you need them in a team. If it's like, I think that's partly why he's not performed in our team because I don't think we're very fluid at the minute. Because I don't think we've got the players that Conte wants yet. But as soon as we get the players that he wants, I think Hill would suit that team. But at the minute, I don't think he suits our team. So I think it'd be beneficial for him to go out on loan. But we do need a replacement for him. We need the quantity in there as well as quality.
Would you be all right with Celtic? I think Dave said Celtic for his on the podcast.
Yeah,
would you rather the championship maybe?
I'd rather a lower league team in the Prem or in the Championship like a Burnley.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, the prophecy of Hill Messi, I don't think is over, and we'll definitely be talking about it further. But Phil, really great combo. 2-2. No. I'll take 2-2. Big up, Phil.
Big up, Jack. Nice one, mate. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Catch you soon, my man. And Conte, we trust. Big up, Phil. Catch you soon, brother. Everybody show Phil some love. Another great chat on a Friday with our boy Phil. Great caller, as somebody said in the chat as well. Please show Phil some love. But we're going to also move on to our next guest. Just going to answer Roy Park's question here. Jack, did you hear about the Dumfries possible deal? I have seen and heard about it. I'm not really aware of where the real source sort of came from. I just saw it on sort of the Twitter sphere there, Roy. Dumfries, I did a scout report of him in the a while back. Some people were a bit skeptical about him. Whenever I've seen him play, he's looked good going forward because he's always been a threat. At least he puts himself in the right areas. He's really good, I think, at showing up at the back post and like either being kind of a threat in the air in the back post. He's kind of, I think, a decent player in the air, actually. Really knows how to rise, but also just seems to have, that inkling to maybe be in the right place in the right time, sort of to either get an assist or get a goal, sort of in and around the box as a wing back. But with Dumfries, a lot of people in the Flat Cap Army, a lot of people over on that channel were a bit skeptical of the likes of Dumfries and didn't really think that Spurs should really take a look at him, or they thought we should look elsewhere. A lot of people thought Wilfred Singo was a lot better, etc. So it's an interesting one. Some people were thinking that Dumfries was a bit overrated. I don't really think he is, but a lot of people that know better than me, at least is what I would say, that people that watch more Dumfries than me say he's a tiny bit overrated. But that's all I can say. I actually think we should go after him personally. But big up there, Roy. We're going to bring on our next guest. It's going to be Mia. I'm looking forward to this one.
Hello.
Hey, Mia, how we doing?
Haven't spoken to you in a while. How you doing?
It's been a while, Mia, and it's good to have you back. So that's why we had to drag you on here and have this conversation, long overdue conversation. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about Marseille? Do we have to catch up there?
We'll catch up with Marseille. We'll work our way from there because obviously we haven't spoken. So yeah, that was a crazy stressful game. I'm not going to lie. That was very stressful. That
you
first
with,
half,
John, where you're like, you can't take it anymore. Like you needed to, you can't take games like that anymore.
Honestly, the first part of that game was just the most stress ever on it. Oh, it was stress.
Not easy. Just not easy. I remember I've never seen Sean and Dave scream that much in the first half before. I mean,
yeah, it was really frustrating. You're just like, what are you doing? Because we just kept losing the ball. And then when they pressed us, they got the ball. And then we wouldn't even press them and try and get the ball back off of them. We just let them have the ball. And I was like, why are we just allowing them to have so much of the ball, man? What are we doing? Like, what the hell?
It's not even like just quality. It just felt like even when we did have time and space on the ball, we were just giving it back to them for no reason.
Yeah,
we were just moon boots, especially. I was getting furious with. I thought he kept going for these Glenn Hoddle. Somebody called it Roberto Carlos passes from the back line. It just felt like we just didn't want the ball.
It was just very, very frustrating, that first half. And then obviously the second half, we came out completely different team. It was like, no, I think someone I heard did like a Sandy comparison from Greece. She come out, me cold Sandy with her like hair. Oh, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do none of those things. And then we come out with sexy stat Sandy, and he's in her tight leather trousers, and tell me about it, stud. In the second half, like, it was completely different. And that comparison was brilliant, and I loved it. I was like, that is very true. It was like the second half, we were the sexy Sandy. And then we come out and we were just so much better. Just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Should we just keep it up this way? Like we've been joking about earlier. Perhaps we just continue to set up for the time being with these injuries. We just set up as the ugliest, meanest team in the first half, only to become sexy Sandy in the second. Is that what should we do?
I don't know, because that kind of football is just so horrible to watch. It is really frustrating. But I honestly don't think that. I think that Conte might say to them, be careful, be cautious. But they take that as, let's just be awful. Because I can't believe in my heart that Conte would say, go out and play that horrid, horrid way. I really don't. I think he says, be cautious, be careful. But they're just being ridiculous. And obviously, because they make mistakes as well, it just makes it so much worse. And can we talk about Kane's dad dancing? Sorry, that dancing. What was he? What was he doing?
It was like a tiny little child. It was like a tiny little child celebrating that win.
I'll tell you what's going to Joe, what's going to happen, Jack? In so many years, his children are going to be ashamed. They're going to be like, Dad, what was that dancing? Like, seriously.
I do. I got from I was like, this guy is such a shameless Spurs fan because he just, I mean, let's be honest, they absolutely shithoused themselves to a 2-1 win. And he's one of the greatest players in the game, like just one of the most technically gifted footballers in the game. Should be playing right, as we know, with the Barcelonas, the Man Cities, the Bayern Munichs of the world type teams. He just shithoused himself to a 2-1 win at Marseille, and he's dancing with Basuma, dancing with Emerson. I thought it was glorious. I think it just shows how much of a shameless Spurs fan he really is. Like, it probably is how much his brother hates him because he's there dancing after a 2-1 win in the most embarrassing manner. I thought it was glorious.
Oh, that was, yeah.
Loved it.
Basuma's got moves. That's what I'm saying. That boy's got
Super even
moves.
making fun of it. I follow him on Instagram as well. Like he did the face palm emoji as well, I think.
Yeah, I don't blame him. He's like looking this guy up and down and going, like kissing his teeth at him, thinking, what is this? What is he doing? Like, geez.
I think he tried to learn the words well ahead of time. Kane did. He tried to
Oh,
learn. Yeah.
bless him. He's just not. He's a great footballer. He can't take free kicks and he can't dance.
I think Dave will be, a bit upset, hearing you criticizing his dancing skills. Just don't criticize his hair, Mia, and then he won't have to get on because he might have to pop on if you criticize the hair as well as the dancing.
His hair's okay, but his dance moves are no, sorry. It's a no from me. I'll be pressing that buzzer quick fast if I was watching him.
Højbjerg Screamer, did you get a chance to talk about that yet with anybody or with any of us? Thoughts on Højbjerg's winner?
I spoke to a bit about it with Ellie, so yeah, obviously perfect person to speak to about it. But yeah, it was brilliant, absolute brilliant, superb goal. What a goal from Højbjerg. And as well, he just worked so hard to make sure that we got that goal. You just saw him racing up that pitch because who was Kane going to pass to? Like, Kane had nobody there, and Højbjerg just shot out of nowhere and was just like, yep, give this ball to me. So it was absolutely brilliant goal by Højbjerg.
For you, I labeled it as a screamer. Does that qualify as
a
screamer?
I'd say it was a bit of a screamer. Yeah, definitely.
Just love to hear that.
But yeah,
anything else on that Marseille game? Perhaps something that kind of connects to it is like that Sonny injury and this Romero injury. Do you want to? I kind of wanted your thoughts on Romero. With the Argentine call up and all this stuff. I've been kind of defending Romero and kind of saying he's not that type of player that would fake an injury or sort of pull himself out for the World Cup just to be ready. Just doesn't seem like that type of guy, even though there is pressure on him to do that from his country. I just don't think he's that type of player. And so I know Romero is one of your favorite players, Mia, so I want your thoughts on that.
Yeah, and I won't have no Romero slander. Sorry, no slander, not allowed. Just like we won't. Dave doesn't let Kane get slandered. I won't allow Romero to get slandered. Sorry, not going to happen. No, I think that obviously there is a lot of pressure on these players, especially a team like Argentina. They're very. I can't think of the word, but obviously ever since I was a kid, we all knew about Argentina, the way they are as with their football, so I do think there's probably pressure on him, and he doesn't come across the kind to shirk his responsibilities either. He doesn't come across as a player who would just try and get off of playing for his team. I just can't see it somehow because he's just not got that in him. He's a pure fighter, wants to play every game, even if he's injured. He wants to play. He wants to get on that pitch and give his all for the team. So I just don't think he's like that at all, if I'm honest. I really don't.
Not in his character. It feels like he's just a guy that seems to love playing out there, and I bet it pains him not to be able to play. It really does. And how much he gives for this team whenever we've seen him play, how much he loves to defend, how much, like I said before, he has already, and I think in the short time span he's been here, given that blood, sweat, and tears and stuff to this club. So it just feels like, at least me personally, I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt as well. And also, I think there were even moments this season, Mia, where we were told that he was pushed, or what was it? Like he wanted to push himself through an injury. He wanted to push himself through the pain barrier. But Conte and the medical staff didn't allow him. Even Conte didn't allow him to do it. So that sort of speaks about a guy that it shows that this guy could do it if he wanted to. Like if he's not somebody to, fake it or, wane himself out or something.
No, I don't think he's like that, and he gives so much to the team, and you can tell that he loves playing football. He just loves it. So I just think any chance he gets, he's not going to risk that. I don't think he'll just think to himself, "Oh, I just won't play." No, I don't think it's in his character. I don't think that's a bit of him, if I'm honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you want to talk about this this Liverpool game, kind of get stuck into that, or do you
Yep.
maybe want to talk
Yeah,
about
no, we can do. Yep, we can
let's
talk about
do
the
that.
Liverpool game. Yeah,
Kul-
go
Kulusevski
on.
is back. How do we go about this one? Because I'm impatient, man. I
So
want to start him right away. What do you do?
I don't think it's a sensible idea to start him straight away because he hasn't got match fitness. Because I think that him being fit doesn't mean he's match fit. So I think there's your problem, because you do not want him to get on that pitch. First of all, when it's the first half of a game where we are going to probably be under the cosh a lot, it's going to be very difficult, and we don't want him to injure himself again, and we don't want that pressure on him. So I think probably bringing him halfway through the second half will be a good little incentive for him to get on and do something, but obviously not have him but do too much time. Like, we don't want him on the pitch for too long and risk him, because although he's got the World Cup and he's not at the World Cup, I do think that it's a good chance while he's not at the World Cup to get himself back to match fitness, because that will give him the perfect opportunity, because he can train hard. He can be on his game then. So when everyone comes back and their people are tired from being at the World Cup, we've got a fresh Kulu.
I need a fresh Kulu though, and I'm so impatient, man, because I feel like with Sonny now being injured, it's just further torture, because what we've been waiting for is for Kulusevski to join the likes of Sonny and Kane, who've been needing him and waiting for him. We're just so unlucky right now that now Sonny picks up an injury. And so I'm just sort of like getting desperate here. I'm like starting to pull my hair out, where I just want some of my quality players back. And then let's be honest, like Lucas is not really been cutting it either with the way he's been playing. So I'm just getting a bit sort of impatient here, but we've been playing so poor in the first half anyways. So are you kind of with some others here that maybe there is no point in even playing him, since we play so, shite in the first half anyway?
Yeah, I think that we just have to be really patient with him, because he isn't going to be match fit, and I'm concerned. I don't want him chucked on too soon. I think that it's just, although we want him and we think, right, we haven't now got Sonny, it's we're kind of getting down to threadbare on the players at the moment. For our attack, we can't just chuck him on and risk him. I think we've got to have to be strategic when it comes to bringing him back onto the pitch. I don't think it's worth doing and then something else happens to him. So if I'm honest, I would say that probably patience is key with him. And as difficult as it is now, we got Sonny out, Richie's still out. We have been really unlucky with our forward line being injured, as well as Romero being injured. It has been quite difficult, but yeah, we can't rush him. We can't rush him back. Not a good idea, in my opinion.
I gotcha. I definitely got you there. Do you then line up as a 3-5-2 then for Sunday? Do we go 3-4-3? How do we go about it then?
I think probably because their midfield is not that great. Their midfield is quite shocking at the moment. 3-5-2 probably to start with, and then bring Kulu on to change up the game a little bit. I think
like it
is probably a good idea, because then you can have that stability in the midfield, and we are scoring goals at the moment from our midfield. So we could get some joy out of that, although it is a bit more isolating for the two at the front having that. But because the midfield are actually scoring goals, and we can definitely get them in the midfield, because their midfield has been shocking. I think we could then do that instead, play that way, and then get Kulu to come on and then hit them, because when Kulu comes on, he's strong, he'll run at them, then we've got that impetus, and they're going to be tired as well by that point, and they've got injuries. So because they've got injuries and they might be tired, obviously I think that's a better way of being, and also gives us more security because of Salah. We want to cover him. We don't want to let him get away with, because we know what he can do. He is still a brilliant player, although they've been shocking. He is still good for them.
Hurt
so
us. He can hurt you in any moment still, even if he's not feeling his best, even if they're not in his best form. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
we have to be cautious. Like, we've got to play it quite cautious, I think. Be careful, because we know that we can still get hit by Salah. Yeah, other teams have played different styles and they've beat them this year. But, you know, we want to do it so we're sensible with it, because we know our limitations. We have got some absolute bozos in defence, so we can't rely on just them. We have to all work as a team together to make sure we keep them out. And that, you know, obviously Salah's their best player. We have to keep him out. So
Absolutely.
we have to work as a team to do that.
I completely agree. I completely agree. Do you feel like it could go similarly to how it went last time, where it's like a 2-2 draw, like sort of Phil said, where maybe a bit end to end, or is it going to be a bit of a different game, do you think?
I think it's going to be a bit more cagey, because I think that they can't afford to lose another game in a row, because that's going to look awful for them, and they're already on a bit of a downward spiral. And we know that we are defending shocking, so we're obviously going to be a bit cautious, because we've always played against Liverpool where we've allowed them the ball and then hit them on the break, where we can't really do that because we haven't got Sonny to play. So we're going to have to find another way of hitting them quickly if we're going to play that way. But I don't think we can play that way. So we're going to have to do like a sort of in-between kind of one. So I'm going to have to defend well, because obviously we are going to probably allow them to have a lot of the ball. But we're going to have to, when we do break, we have to be really quick. We have to be quick and decisive as well, and clinical with our attacks, because I don't know how many of those we're going to get, especially in the first half. So if we do that and we hit them and we get a goal, that's going to knock their confidence, and they're going to have to come out more and try and play more. So that might give us more space, so they won't be able to play such a high line either. So
I kind of agree with you, and Catman Jess agrees with you there. I could see it being more of a cagey game. As much as I enjoyed, I think, the back and forth sort of kind of end-to-end nature of that last one. Perhaps that was because we were playing more kind of a forward-minded players in that game. I think, what was it, Dele Alli, Winks, and Tanguy sort of was the team, and we need to, try to outscore them. I think we knew that we weren't going to probably keep goals out of our net that game. Where this game, we are going to be probably a bit more defensively minded, and Liverpool have to be more defensively minded. Like you said, I mean, they just can't, risk, conceding more and more goals, especially to a team like Spurs, who know when you give them a goal, they can definitely be a pain in the ass, I think, to play with against once you give them that goal. Kafkov Gaming here, and maybe we can talk about the January window a little bit, Mia, and then I can let you go. Kafkov Gaming saying, invest in the squad and back Conte. Levy, you prick. Do you feel like this January window, I mean, there are a few things that I kind of had up here. And so Kafkov, if you don't mind, there's some things I need to ask me about that January transfer window and Mr. Daniel Levy. One of them being is that maybe Davinson Sanchez, one of those bozo defenders you mentioned there, Mia, is at the end of Sanchez, because the fact he didn't play, I thought, against Marseille, the fact that he was pulled off against Bournemouth, pulled off against Newcastle, perhaps it's over now, finally, for Sanchez.
Can we just
lost
get
all
some
faith. Conte's lost
Can
all
we
faith.
just get Can we get something established? The test come back. Davinson Sanchez officially is not a footballer. It come back. The test says, no, he's not a footballer. Sorry. They stamped it with a big rejected thing, like footballer rejected. That guy is not a footballer. I told you he's a pole dancer. He drops to that floor quicker than a pole dancer. Man needs to sort himself out.
And he's been done with Sanchez since those farmers from Mira tore him a new one. And I think he also said, I remember that one time where he said Sanchez got done by the same move, by the same farmer in the same game. But do you feel like if it is then, basically, let's just get this settled. Do you feel like Conte has officially, as much as we have fans, we have all lost faith in Sanchez a long time ago, but has Conte lost faith in him? Because I think there is some evidence to say he has, with the fact that he hasn't started him in the most recent games because of whatever reason we might know. Yeah.
I think he's just had enough. I think he watched enough of him making enough bozo mistakes and thinking, what are you doing? Like, you're not in a clown, you're not in a circus, you're not a clown. Like, why are you falling over like you've got size 20 shoes on? Like, what are you even doing, man? Like, seriously. So, yeah, no, I think he's done with him. I hope he's done with him, because he's absolutely useless.
Does that mean, center backs in January, is a possibility, and how many do you think we'll bring in? How many do you want us to bring in?
I think we need to bring in 2. I think we need to have, I think, for a replacement for Dyer, and maybe have Dyer as a backup, because I know people don't want to.
Sanchez's spot. I feel like Dyer.
Yes, and then
spot.
obviously we need another one in case Romero's out, because we can't just guarantee that both of the players are going to be fit, and we can also rotate them as well. So then that way there's less chance of injuries. We could rotate and then have Dyer as like the spare, because that way he's far away from it. And I know people won't like it, but you have to also factor in we need backups sometimes, like a situation like now. We need backups on the backups, because our front line's suffering, because all our backups even injured, like Richie's injured, so we definitely probably need to keep him.
If we move on Tanganga and Sanchez, then that gives us full reason, and there should be no excuses to get 2 center backs. I think it's more getting rid of. I think we have to get rid of one of them, and we absolutely should bring in one of them, even if we can't move on either of them. I think we still should bring in one. I think the opportunity for us to bring in 2 probably comes out of us being able to successfully move on Tanganga as well as Sanchez.
I'll drive Sanchez to go to the airport, to go to Las Vegas, to be one of those go-go dancer girls. That's what he's going to go and do.
He does more dancing than defending, it feels like, on the football pitch. He's getting danced past, is how I would see it. He gets danced past.
I could put my mother, who's nearly 70 years old, in defence, and she would be better than him.
She probably has a bit more quality on the ball, I could say that. But in terms of also another question here, quality versus quantity. This was kind of brought up in Ali Gold's kind of recent video. Apparently in the summer, we were going after more quantity. I think we brought in a bit of quality with Richie, Basuma, etc. That was more the focus, was, I guess, to beef out the squad with the quantity aspect. And I think Conte even called it the numerical aspect. But from now on, I think they're going to be looking more at quality sort of players. So where do you stand on this, Mia? Is this kind of more propaganda from the club, or is this something that we should be excited about and maybe take seriously?
I think we should take it seriously, because I think if Conte was unhappy, he would say so. I don't think that he's one to keep his mouth shut. He'll just literally, you know what he's like. He's in past. We know if he's not happy, he will say so. So I honestly do believe that he's saying it himself about, obviously, the time he needs, the windows he needs to get some more players in. So when you think about last January, we brought in 2 people that everyone said, oh, they're rejects, and they're amazing. So I've got every confidence that Paratici will look out for another lot of players that are going to be good quality and what Conte wants. That's the main thing we've got to think of. It's got to be what Conte wants. That's the only way to go. Even if we think, oh, but they're older, they're past it, but if Conte wants them, they're part of what he wants, then we should give that to him, because I feel like he knows what he wants, and he's got a set system in his mind how he wants to set us up. So if we've got these players who he believes are quality enough to be in our team, then I trust him.
Gotcha. I like it. Anything else, Mia, that you feel like you wanted to say, kind of like fill that and get to let you have your say on any kind of topics that you feel like, you want to come on and talk about, or should we leave it there and give me your score prediction? Or is there maybe something, like I said, that maybe, I didn't get to, let you have your say on?
Obviously I understand that everybody's getting a bit frustrated with this whole starting the first half so poorly, but I honestly, I can't think that Conte would send them out to be so poor, because if you've watched any of the other Conte teams, I know he's kind of working with what he's got.
Did you say cautious and careful, and they treat that as awful?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, like it's on. I think that's what they do. I think that people need to lay off of Conte a little bit, because I do think we still need to give this man time. We need to obviously see if Levy gives him the money in January, which I think I heard that someone say that we got much money for qualifying for the Champions League now into the final 16. So we should have that money there to say to him, here, have the money and get what you need. So it is really, for me, the concentration should be on that back line, because let's be honest, we have Royale and Doherty, and that needs to be addressed. That does need to be addressed, as well as the centre backs. I think that we do need to address the the micro penises, because we can't carry that on. They're just
Absolutely.
not
They need to be
They're not
addressed. They need to
satisfactory.
be gotten
Yeah,
rid of. They need to be gotten rid of.
they're not satisfactory. They're not.
No,
They're
no.
just not. They don't satisfy nobody. So let's be honest. Like,
No
so we need
excusing
to
them any
sort it.
longer. No excusing them any longer.
We need to we do need to sort that out as well. So I think we need to concentrate in January on our backline. I think as much as people say about midfield, I think that's something that I think can wait. If we had to pick, I think that is the most important, because he plays a wing back system. So they're really important. And he plays a system where you defend very well. And we can't do that with these pole dancers and clowns in our back line. So we need to sort that out a lot. I think that's like the emergency is that back line, because I think that defenses are very important when you're playing. So
I feel like a lot of our problems, I know we need to fix other areas in the squad, but I think if we again continue to upgrade other areas of the squad and we ignore that defense like we have in the past, I think we'll continue to have the same problems. I'll be honest. Like, it's just a lot of our problems with this team, I think,
that's
stemmed
it.
a lot from the back line. And it's
And
not even just
the
defending, it's just quality on the ball and
the
like giving it
quality,
away,
yeah.
like you said earlier.
The thing is that we can't pass out from the back with blimmin' the bozos that we got. Like, they just look at the ball and they're like, oh, ball, oh, I'll just do something stupid with it. Like, it's like, really? Why? What are you doing? Oh, it makes me pull my hair out, I swear. I'm like, what are you doing? So we do need to sort that, and that is so important, because don't forget, in January we've then got games further on. We want to qualify for the Champions League again, and if we want to push for a cup and stay in the competitions that allow us to give us an opportunity to win those cups, we need to have a better defense. We cannot win anything with that defense. Let's be honest, we just can't. So to me, we need to do that, and that's a realistic expectation of mine, is to get top 4 and a cup. So I feel like to do that, we have to get our defense sorted. Otherwise, we're stuffed. We're not going to get much.
No, I think it's the answer to a lot of our problems. It really is upgrading that defense. I'm fully with you there, Mia. Give me that score prediction though here. Frank Laughs saying my heart says 2-1 win. My head says 3-1 loss. Hold on, I'm giving my head a wobble. It's 4-1 win. Where do you
Frank,
stand,
give
Mia?
your head a wobble. That's what I'm saying. I think we're going to win 2-1. I think we're going to score a last minute winner, because we are the last minute kings at the moment. So I feel like we're going to get that last minute. Everybody is going to go absolutely mental, because we're going to get that last minute winner. And it's going to be Kulusevski that's going to get that last minute winner. Kulu for the winner. That'll be just immense. I think that you as well, Conte has installed that never give up mentality in us, because it's just shown that our last minute goals are the ones that are winning us games. So it means that we are just saying we are not going to give up. Yes, you scored against us, but we're going to still try our best and not give up. And I think that's so important in a game mentally, to say we're not going to give up. So even if Liverpool 1-0 up, I feel like we're not going to give it up easy. We're not just going to roll over and say, right, that's it, we're going to let you win. I think that we're going to still go at them, and we're still going to try. So yeah, last minute winner, 92nd minute winner from Kulu.
I'll take it. I'll take that any day of the week. And more second half comebacks, it sounds like. And we'll take, those last minute moments. But looks like Sean's heart rate might not be able to take it. So he'll probably need a break in the watch along. But Mia, really appreciate you coming on. Really appreciate you, having your say with me. Thanks for letting me drag you on as well, and having a say. And I'll let you enjoy the rest of your Friday.
Brilliant. And don't forget, in Conte we trust.
In Conte we trust. Absolutely right. Especially over here, Mia. Big up.
Big up. Speak to you soon.
Come on, you Spurs. Big
Come
up,
on, you
Mia.
Spurs.
See you soon. Everybody, show Mia some love. I dragged her on as well to have a say, and so please, bigger up. Just a great chat. And especially on a Friday, just having some good chats with people. And we're going on to the last one here, and it's with my man Pete Dubs. Looking forward to it. Good Friday chat with this guy. How we doing?
What's happening, Shaq? How we doing, bud?
Not in the hot tub this time. We're out in nature. I like it.
Not in the hot tub. In a backyard of my parents' house, and breathing it in.
Looking beautiful. Are we still in the lovely state?
We are. We are in Rhode Island. Yep. So.
Okay, good. Good. Still in the
it's
lovely
good.
state. Still Rhode Island's
good.
finest. We can still put
Yep,
that title on there.
it is absolutely.
What do you want to talk about? Do you have some, feelings still left about Marseille that you wanted to get out, or did you want to maybe go straight into Liverpool and get stuck in there?
Yeah, we can get into Liverpool. I was,
Let's
again,
do it.
I was pretty thorough with Marseille and what
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, we
And
got to have a good hot tub combo about Marseille.
we
So
did,
yeah.
we did, we did.
So let's talk about Kulusevski then returning. Are you like me, where
Oof.
you're just impatient and you want him to start right away, or are you a bit more kind of calm and patient, like Mia and KPV, who want to bring him on maybe after halftime? Where do you stand on this?
I think David. Sorry, Jack. I think
No,
that
okay.
he needs to start this game.
I'm
I
with you.
think that he was close before, and if he wasn't ready, he wouldn't play.
Uh-huh.
So if he's 100%, he's playing. And
Uh-huh.
again, I think largely we haven't been playing well because he hasn't been playing.
Exactly.
He's the
Because
one
we've been
that
missing
makes
him.
things. He's the one that makes things go on the team. Again, I know we're missing Sonny, and that's going to be a little bit of a blow. But I mean, I couldn't believe that he was available. I read that this morning. I was making sure who posted that. Was that Daily Mail? No. Fabrizio,
No,
come on.
our own Fabramano helped us out there a
Yep,
little bit. A nice tap in for him there.
yep. I saw that. I was
But
like, ooh. I got a
no,
bunch of Liverpool friends. I got a bunch of Liverpool friends, obviously, and being around here, around Rhode Island. A lot of FSG fans over here.
that makes
Um,
sense. That does make
and
sense.
I was, a little down in the dumps going into it. I was like, guys, like we should be smashing you. And I don't know if we have any of our attackers. Thankfully, we do.
hmm
We're gonna have at least again our most creative player back on the pitch. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
definitely more excited for this game
How much
on
torture
Sunday.
is it though to have Sonny, get injured the moment that Kulusevski returns, right? It's just our luck that we've
It
been
is.
waiting to, like Son and Kane, right? They've been waiting to have their guy back. They've been waiting to have the guy that really helps make things click all together, brings the best out of them, you could say. And then Sonny gets injured when that happens. It's just torture.
Yeah, for sure. Again, again, I felt like the challenges was just unlucky. Like it was just unlucky,
Yeah.
and again, it is those things. It's like Liverpool earlier this year. Again, just every single day, at least one or two of their players got hurt.
Yeah, that one
So
season. Yeah. Yeah.
unfortunately, we're kind of feeling that this season. But it's. I hope for his sake, Sonny gets fit for the World Cup. I want him to play there. I want him to represent his nation. I know it means a lot to him. So hopefully
Yeah.
he'll be okay then, and come back stronger. But yeah, I mean, listen again. We have a squad. We have a squad for a reason, Jack.
There, yeah, you're right. He's our secret
Yeah,
weapon, though, so that's why we're probably a bit
exactly.
sad because especially against a team like Liverpool, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
I
they
know.
they
Yeah,
love to leave that back line wide open. There's so much green grass in
yep.
behind
And
Van Dijk, and
especially
Sonny's
on that
probably
side
the best
too.
in the world for it. He's one of the best in the world in using that
Yep.
sort of,
And especially on that side against Trent. I mean, there's nobody you want
right.
more
Didn't even
against
think
Trent.
about that. Didn't even think about that.
Nobody want against Son against Trent. It's a non-contest. But again, even like I think Hill would be able to do something against Trent too.
Yeah.
Like
He
man,
could cook him out.
Trent is stinky on defense. He is just stinky. So I think I think Hill could exploit him. I even think, dare I say, no legs Mora could exploit Trent as well.
So what do we do
Um,
here then? Do we start 3-5-2 and not play Kulusevski, or do we go 3-4-3, play Kulusevski, start him, and maybe put Lucas or Hill on the left?
I think again. So my question before this was, I didn't know if I heard rumors that Bentancur might be hurt or
Someone
injured.
put that in the chat. Someone put that in the chat. Stevie Frazier did. I'm not. He could be right, but I don't know.
So my thinking is if Bentancur is hurt, we're gonna play 3-5-2, and we're gonna
Sure.
play Kulu as a 10. And we're gonna play
Okay.
Kulu as a 10, and
Lucas Kane up
with Moore
top.
up there and Bentancur with Højbjerg
Okay.
sitting. Again, and Kulu says it himself. Again, like he considers himself a 10. So again, I think it's a good opportunity to sit him there and see what he can do.
Right.
because we know what he can do on the wing. Again, I don't think he's had a lot of time with us at the 10. Honestly, in many games, I mean, I don't recall seeing him in that hole too often. But I'm sure he can do the job.
He sees himself as a number 10, but he hasn't,
Yeah.
I think, really played through there. Maybe he's done it like once at one stage. It's hard to remember, but
No,
he's not.
I can't recall. I can't recall
I
him
can't recall it either.
ever really
Yeah.
doing it. So I think he absolutely could, and I'd be excited for it. Again, I think he needs to play.
Stevie Frazier
Right.
did an update for us here saying Conte just said his condition has improved and he trained.
Okay.
Lucas is a worry though.
Well,
So
perfect. That's okay. That's an upgrade. So again,
if
I
anything,
think,
then if Lucas is a worry, our options are 3-4-3 with Hill Messi on the left, or 3-5-2 with like or actually
I would put 3-5-2.
That's strange then, because then you just do 3-5-2 with maybe just Kane and Kulusevski up top.
Yeah, Kulusevski up top. I would absolutely. I think I would do that and just put Basuma back there with those.
Do we
two
have
other
enough?
boys.
Do we have enough dynamism, enough pace? Because I think what we need is that the 3-5-2. We need some runners. I think we do need some runners.
Yeah, I think we do, because Liverpool's midfield is in the mud. Like, they're muddy over there.
Yeah,
Fabinho's,
and Højbjerg and
Fabinho's a
Bentancur can run
shell,
rings
and
around them.
honestly, I agree. I think Højbjerg's gonna be putting the horses on the pitch and gonna be running straight through them boys.
Come on, love that.
But yeah, I think either way, again, with Kulu being back, it's a significantly different threat. I mean, we're going to be very, very different. Again, even with Kane, I was like, okay, they're really shit. I mean, I think it was at least a draw for me in the beginning, but now with Kulu, again, it definitely changes things.
Love that. No, it helps us out so much. It's absolutely massive. Would you go? I mean, there's another injury we have to think about. Romero's injury we got to think about too.
Yeah.
Do you go with Longley and Dyer and Davies again? And what does that say about Sanchez? Like we were speaking earlier, I think that says no more Sanchez, the end of Sanchez. If we're doing that, like we're basically playing, Longley ahead of Sanchez, where basically Sanchez becomes like fourth, fifth choice at that stage. If I don't know, it just feels like Conte has maybe lost the faith there. And also the other question is, what do you go for if Romero is hurt? So who do you play in the back?
He's done. I mean, I assume he's done for the World Cup. And
no, he is ready. He'll be ready for the World Cup.
I mean, until the World. I think until the World Cup.
You're right.
But I think like Sanchez has let us down many times in the past. Again, what was it? 2 seasons ago, we were screaming to let him go. I think last summer, I think there were many more people saying that, okay, like he can stay, with Dyer as well. And again, it's back to this year. It's back to like, he's just, again, it's the bozo gene. It's a dominant gene in him, and we know it.
It's in moon boots as well. The moon head gene.
It is. Again, like it's less pronounced. It's a recessive gene in Dyer. I feel like as much as but it's a dominant gene in Mr. Sanchez. It's just tough. And honestly, I don't know what you're gonna get for him. If you could get 20 million for him, I mean, I'd consider that a steal.
Oh wow, that would be glorious. I mean, that is an absolute
steal.
It would be a steal. I think it's what it is that we have to just move out some center back in January, because what we really want is probably 2 center backs, right? In January, we want to bring in ideally 2, but in order to bring in 2, I think we're going to have to move out at least 1 center back, because you can't have 3 center backs, Dyer, Tanganga, and Sanchez, sort of warming the bench. Like you need to have only 1 or 2 center backs warming the bench. I think you can only really do that. So we're going to have to move on him and Tanganga, or at least him or Tanganga, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me it'd be a miracle to get 2. I think
it would be a miracle. That would be crazy to bring in 2, I think, in January. It'd be amazing.
Again,
I'd love it.
Just for us, it'd be a miracle.
I agree.
Like if it was City, then I think you can expect whatever they need.
True.
But I just, it'd be a miracle if we got 2. And I mean, I can still see Tanganga going on loan to like Milan, because I thought that was going to be a thing in September. I thought he was going to go for sure.
Yeah, I think some Spanish clubs were interested, and yeah, so he had some
Yeah, I mean,
suitors.
he hasn't gotten a look in at all, which is again, I do find a little bit surprising because again, he played a few games. I don't know what he played. 10 games. Did he have 10 games last year? It was probably more than 5.
No, Tequila doesn't think we're bringing in 2. He says, Jack, no chance we bring in 2. We only got 1 in the summer when we
Yeah,
needed 2. And you're probably right, Tequila,
Yeah.
because as much as they said Spurs were focusing on the quantity and numerical aspect of that transfer window, it's not like they really achieved that fully. Like, I think there were still some areas that they didn't improve on in the quantity or numerical aspect, and center back
No.
was one of them. And absolutely right, Tequila. Bringing in 2 center backs in January would then also sort of suggest that they made a mistake, I think, in the summer. And Spurs aren't always too keen on making that very clear and obvious that they made a mistake. But with the way maybe Levy has been with Antonio Conte, he might be more willing to sort of imply that he's happy to listen to him. But I'm with you there, Tequila. I think 2 center backs for a few reasons seems hard. It feels like we have to move on the likes of Tanganga and or Sanchez in order to do that. That's going to be quite difficult because we've already found it hard to move on some of these players that really have no value. And then on top of that, I feel like bringing in 2 center backs is an implication, or at least implies that we definitely did not do the job in the summer. And I know Daniel Levy doesn't like really, making that obvious to the world. So it's a good point you raised there, actually, Tequila, certainly. So if we only brought in 1 center back, P-Dubs, do we have to then, what other position should we focus on? Because again, I don't think it's just one signing that will help us. I do think bringing in 1 quality center back would go a very long way. I think that would go a very long way. But if we can't bring in 2, what's the other position that?
I mean, Dave, Jack, we know. I mean, I would love to sell these 2 brothers, pack them into one person, and they'd be an amazing player. But boy, those
the Irish Cafu and the Chicken Royale.
Again, it's going to be impossible to sell them both. And actually, I do think, and again, like going back to my original call with Dave when I said that Doherty was worthless. I just think that he has no value in the transfer market.
I completely agree with you there.
I mean, I think you'd be lucky to get $1 million or 2.
I don't think you're getting any money for him. I don't think anybody would pay. I just don't see why would anybody pay money for Doherty? I agree.
Get him to the MLS, Jack, get him to the Revolution, the Mighty Revs.
Yeah, that's actually not actually bad out there. Actually, that's probably his next best league.
He'd probably excel in the MLS, to be honest with you.
That's actually not even kidding. In all seriousness, a very valid shout. If anybody were to pay money for him, I could see an MLS club paying money for him.
Yeah, and if we got, again, like if it could happen, it'd be great. But yeah, I mean, that's where the money needs to be invested. Again, like we said, like in a 3-5-2, the wingbacks are the most important position.
Yeah.
So
if he got a center back and a new quality wingback of some sort, that definitely would go a very long way. I think that would go a very long way.
I'm not going to say that totally solidifies us for top 4 because I still think, again, like the teams are looking good. And United is right there. Arsenal right now, unfortunately. And, Liverpool, again, we need to show up on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
We need to show up on Sunday. And again, we have them, 10 points up on them. Again, if we could put them 13 points up, again, I think it's a big statement going into the going into the World Cup. For sure.
Lazy, our friend Nick over here, our P-Dubs, is saying, I don't see Sanchez going anywhere until the summer. And my guess is that Jaffa has been kept in bubble wrap, so he retains some value as a loan this January. Here's actually where I think he's right, is that we all want to see Sanchez go in January.
Yeah,
will it actually happen? Maybe not. But the player that is easily capable of moving on is Jaffa Tanganga, because we almost moved him on in the summer. We found it. We were close to doing it. And I imagine that he hasn't played at all. He hasn't been used at all. He's quite, I think, unhappy even in the dressing room. Whereas Sanchez, as much as he's been shocking, probably is a happy camper in the dressing room with how much he's been getting played and how much he gets chances.
He's loving life,
so,
Jack.
He's loving life, exactly. Where Jaffa Tanganga, maybe not so much. So I actually agree with Nick. As much as I want to see Sanchez moved, this
No.
January, the more likely scenario is that Jaffa gets moved.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly, like, I'd even take a loan, Jack. I'd loan somebody. Like, I'd loan somebody for, again, a
Get
loan to
another
buy
long
maybe
lay.
for the rest of the season. Yeah, like, again, hey, listen, if we got another long lay, I'd be happy with that. A long lay
Me
on the
too.
right would be fantastic.
Me too.
Because again,
Me
like,
too.
honestly,
All
like
for it.
Romero again, and we can kind of get the conversation going this way if we want to. Like Romero again, like been on and off this year. And
Well, he's injured for the
think-
rest of the
Yep.
campaign. So what are your thoughts on that? Are you
Yep.
in the camp that he is sort of holding out to the World Cup, or are you like me and Mia, which maybe that's a bit harsh, to say that? I mean, speak freely and speak honestly.
Yeah. It's one of those where that message from Argentina to the Premier League or into other leagues seems ominous. And the list of players, I think did you guys do this yesterday? You put that list out.
I don't think we did,
Yesterday,
but it's not a
it was somebody.
coincidence.
It was some, I don't know, maybe it was Weird Talk on TV too. That put that, it was like a list of like
Yeah.
11 or 12 players
Yeah.
that could be starters or are at least in the World Cup squad are already just biding their time already. It is murky at best. But again, honestly, I'm not gonna blame the guy. Even if it is that way, I'm not gonna blame him. Like this World Cup is in the wintertime is a joke as it is.
Yeah.
They're overtaxing the players as it is. Honestly, if it were me, like I know me personally, and I was again a Yank going to my World Cup, hell no, I'm not playing straight up to. It's 2 days, right? That Leeds game or that. I think the Leeds is the last one, or is it the
It's November
Leeds game is 2 days.
12th. Leeds is November 12th. And I think the first game is like November 17th or like something.
Yeah, like they only get like I don't know, it's a few days. That's it. And
might even be
again,
fewer days than that.
It's not right. And I think this is just one of those circumstances where, again, even if it is something that I don't really have a problem with it. Like I know we're paying his salary or whatnot, but I mean,
sympathize
he's had
with
injury
him.
problems. He's had injury problems before. And honestly,
I sympathize with them, P-dubs. The way I see it,
I agree.
is that when you
It's
get
tough.
that sort of pressure, when it's like, here's how I see it. If you were to even connect it to something, it's like as if, your mom and your missus are both asking, two separate things of you. Like your mom wants you to hang out this weekend and help around the house, maybe something that, maybe some just sort of chores and whatnot, do some shopping with her. The missus is saying, the exact same thing. I need you to help out, need some company, etc. You're feeling like you're being pulled in two directions, and you have love for both and you have admiration for both. But when one is telling you deliberately, let's say the missus is just telling you deliberately, I need you to be here this weekend. But you're also like, well, I also need to be somewhere else. It's a tough situation. Like I actually sympathize for anybody in that sort of, situation as a player, especially when the Argentina FA have made no secret of their intentions for these players. And I think that's tough. That's tough as a player to deal with.
And like also like the Messi thing too. Like that, I don't think that can be understated. Like this is it for Messi. Like this is it for Messi.
Mia says the mother should go first no matter what. So good call there. Maybe a good call. The missus gets the missus gonna have to wait. Pick up Mia. Sorry, you were saying that.
No, I was just saying the Messi thing is just, it's just, I think that's the big thing for the squad. Like you have this guy that's just, looking for his crowning achievement. And obviously everybody in the country wants a World Cup too. Everybody wants to win a World Cup. But like, Messi, if he wins this, obviously,
it's the last one for him.
It's the last one. It's the last one. So, I mean, all these guys want to play for him. I know Lisandro Martinez was like openly talking. It's like, we're going to war for this guy. Like, I don't care. And so obviously he's definitely not going to play the rest of those games for United. Again, Mr. Lord Slabhead is going to be showing us how great he is leading up to the World Cup.
I think it's hilarious that he'll probably be playing actually.
He's going to play. He's going to start. Again, and actually, I think, I don't know, I think I was talking about it in the comments earlier about Dyer possibly playing himself out of starting for England. I think he might have.
With how
Like, I think
shocking he's been that poor recently. He really
he's been
has.
that poor recently, and
He's actually gotten worse since he's gone on the
since
plane.
he's been called
too,
up.
and
Yeah,
Since
yeah.
he's been called up. Yeah.
I mean, he's probably gotten a lot of little WhatsApp messages from Harry, trying to get the boys together for a little debauchery. Harry's
The
trying
way
to
I see it
get
is
this
that
guy
he has shocking Octobers, and I think there's a history of Dyer having shocking Octobers, and so I think
There
that's
is,
what
yep.
it partially is too. Yeah.
Yep. So it's again, like, I don't blame Romero in the slightest. Either
Me
way,
too.
Jack.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame him. But yeah. Let's get you finished off again, boys and girls. Smash that like button. Subscribe
Love
to
it.
Flat
Thank
Cap
you, Dubs.
Hero
Can I get a
Talk.
score prediction from you, brother, though, before I let you go? Can I
Yep.
get a score prediction from you?
You're gonna get a score prediction. I gotta back our team now. 2-1.
Come on. 2-1. I've gotten a lot of
It's gotta
2-1s.
be. I think Kulusevski with 2 assists. I think Højbjerg gets on a score sheet, and Kane does as well.
Another Højbjerg goal. I'll take that, Mr. Dubs.
We'll
Really
take it.
appreciate that. Alrighty. Thanks
Jack,
for chatting with me, my man.
Thanks for getting me on, bud.
No, thanks for letting me drag you on. Thanks for having a combo
Cheers.
with me this Friday. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, my man. Pick up P-Dubs.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Catch you soon,
Come on,
brother.
you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Have a good one, my man. Everybody, show P-Dub some love. Great combo with him. Really enjoyed that one, especially KPVs as well. Saying, Jack, join my league. There's the code KPV. Really appreciate the reminder and really appreciate the support as well, brother. Really looking forward to chatting with you Monday as well after we smash the Reds. Big up KPV, and I'll be joining that league, especially when I'm setting my lineup today. I'm going to be setting that lineup today, KPV. If it isn't too late already, it shows how poor my fantasy team has been that I'm leaving it to the very last minute, brother. But I will join that league, and thank you very much for the reminder, and thank you very much for coming on as well, my man. Everybody else, really do appreciate you all tuning in. Really do appreciate you all throwing in your comments. Really appreciate anybody that's thrown in a super chat to support the channel as well. It really does go a long way. Thanks all for who's come on to have their say with me. Kept me company on this Friday. Some nice Friday vibes, kind of combos as well. Feel free to smash that like button if you do enjoy these fan shows. And if you have enjoyed the show, please do on your way out. But that'll be all for now, everybody. I'm going to be leaving it there. I believe tomorrow there could be something coming up on the channel. David, it's actually his birthday today, everybody. So wish him a happy birthday as well the next time you see him. I think he is probably digging into maybe some FIFA later today. So that sounds like a lot of fun. But everybody wish David a big happy birthday. I think probably coming out with something tomorrow. But as always, though, the watch along, pre-match build up, all that good stuff on Sunday. If you want to join the fan show membership and you want to come on these shows, the membership link is down in the description down below. But everybody, that'll be all for now. Please smash that like button, like I said, on your way out. But I will be seeing ya. Come on, you Spurs. And in Conte, we trust.